All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Sunday Futures. We are here live Sunday, June 22nd. I'm here on time, 7:45 p.m. Eastern. We have 15 minutes until the overnight markets open. And I think a lot of us are interested, based on the events that happened this weekend, on how these markets are ultimately going to open up. And so we'll see in about 15 minutes. Hello. Thank everybody for being here. Futures right now, if you haven't taken a look yet, they are basically flat. I mean, they're red, but not really as red as people thought they would be. Most people projected, or some of the websites that anticipate the weekend futures thought, hey, maybe like negative 1.25%, negative 2%. That's not really what we're seeing. We're seeing it actually line up to be pretty normal right here and not actually be that bad. So you got futures right here that really aren't moving that aggressively to the downside. You have the broader market that's holding up okay. Again, in about 15 minutes, we're going to see how the market opens. But if we get a flat reaction in terms of stocks are down 1% or maybe up 1%, I think that is to be expected. Tesla Robotaxi, it's out. It is officially out. Today has been crazy seeing all the different content from these Robotaxis. We're going to look at a lot of the content. A bunch of our friends of the channel, like a Farzad, was invited to Austin, Texas, and he made a lot of content and showed a lot of pictures and videos. And I'm not going to lie, bro, it really does look like we are staring at the future. It really does. Like, the app shows you pressing for a Robotaxi, 8 minutes away, 5 minutes away, comes to pick you up. You step inside, it drives you to your location. It is the future. It's what's happening right now. And it's very, very exciting to see. And quite frankly, I mean, even I'm looking at these videos and like, dude, I want to buy more Tesla stock. And so I wonder if we're going to gap up in about 15 minutes or 13 minutes when we open up and maybe we see Tesla get a little bit of a bid just based on the pure hype and momentum of some of these videos that have been coming out. Obviously, it's not going to really impact the bottom line anytime soon, but still, it is very exciting to see. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll talk more about Iran, Israel. I mean, there's not that much to talk about ever since the United States officially struck Iran last night. And Chris and I, we talked about it for a couple hours when we listened to Trump's address. We didn't get any major updates today in terms of the overall, I guess, dynamic of what's going on. I mean, two major things about the Strait of Hormuz, which we will talk about. Granted, I don't think it's that big of a threat. The biggest thing, I guess, we got in terms of an update, and we'll analyze this more later, is Trump tweeted about an hour ago, it's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? MIGA, which stands for Make Iran Great Again. I don't even know, bro. I don't know what to say to that. So, like, I mean, outside of that, that was the biggest update we got today. Iran said they're going to strike back. Iran said, oh, we're rebuilding our nuclear facilities, which literally contradicts what they said yesterday, which is that their facilities didn't even get attacked, or like the attack wasn't successful. So it's like, you can't say you're rebuilding if you said the facilities, didn't have any issues in the first place. There's just contradicting statements coming out of Iran. It seems like their facilities got hit. They got attacked. And I don't think they're going to do anything about it, quite frankly, because they can't afford to do anything about it. And as a result, I think the markets are like, all right, cool. It's done. We're moving on from that. And so from that perspective, I don't know, dude. I mean, last night, Chris and I, our prediction was that it was a nothing burger. Maybe it turns out to not be a nothing burger, but I can tell you this data right here. We're going to see the S&P 500 open in about 11 minutes. Middle Eastern markets, which are open on Sunday. I found out today, most Middle Eastern markets are open from Sunday to Thursday. I didn't know that, but apparently that's the case. If you look at the Middle Eastern markets, they didn't care. They didn't care. Israel hit an all-time high on their markets today. Egypt was up. Lebanon was up a little bit. Kuwait was up a little bit. Saudi Arabia up a little bit. Oman was up a little bit. Jordan was down a little bit. So a lot of the markets kind of just didn't care. And I think the U.S. markets will follow. But so far, no major impacts from the attack last night in terms of affecting the actual markets. Thank everybody for being here. Deneen, what's up? Jed, what's up? Lunar, Spencer, hello. Thank you for being here. Kevin, Nick, Tessie going over 400. I mean, dude, some of these videos make you think that it's going to pump up there, but I don't know if it gets there anytime soon. But these videos are pretty amazing. And yes, it is GeoBox. Yes, there's a passenger seat. Like, all of those things are true, right? That's why it's not going to affect the bottom line. It probably doesn't deserve to go up $50-$60, but goodness, it's sleek, it's beautiful, it's sexy, it's very Apple-esque in terms of how they designed the product. It makes you think, what's going to happen to Uber if Tesla actually turns on 7 million vehicles that can be part of this Robotaxi network? I mean, it's one of those things that I think is going to create a lot of momentum. And we might see that happening as well in the stock price itself. Trucker Rob, what's up? Carolyn Chang, what's up? Roundmound 22, thank you for being here. Pascal. You know, I met someone in Toronto named Pascal as well. Bonjour to you. Thank you for being here. We got about 10 minutes until the markets open, and then we'll get into all the analysis and headlines I want to run through. But in the next 10 minutes, we will see how the overnight markets open up, and then we'll keep going from there. Dude, I forgot today's Game 7 today. Kevin Durant is now a Houston Rocket. So, yeah, I mean, like, I missed the whole freaking trade deal because, like, the whole time I was, like, looking at markets during the day. But yeah, he's in Houston, and I mean, Game 7, I don't know who's going to win. Robinhood has a bunch of people betting on it. I kind of don't care that much about who wins. It's just not that exciting to me anymore. But like, yeah, if you have me on in the background with watching Game 7, I really appreciate it. Did it start yet already? Did it start yet? When does it start? It starts at like 8:30, right? It's 7:50. It's probably going to start in a little bit. That's crazy. Yeah, 8 p.m. Oh, it starts in 10 minutes. All right, cool. Well, hopefully I can be some commentary while you guys are watching the game as well. Dude, I used to love the NBA and care about it. Like, that was like 10 years ago. Now I just don't pay attention that much. But I think OKC is going to win. However, it would not surprise me if Halliburton comes out with a game winner and he pulls this off. Sam, what's up? Thank you for being here. Chris, Lee, Loveleen, thank you for being here. Matthew, Austin, what's up? Thank you all for joining me today on the Sunday Futures. Dude, we're almost done with June. Bro. We got like 10 days left, 9 days left of June, and then it's over. And then we're in July. The summer officially started yesterday, June 21st, right? First day of summer. So that officially started. And it was hot as hell today. I just got back from taking a walk. It was hot as hell. It's like 80. It's almost 90 degrees in New Jersey today. So it is very hot here on the East Coast. But we're coming into June. I mean, we're coming into July at this point. I wanted the Oscar dip. Dude, I am okay. I think all of us are okay with a dip. Like, at this point, it's been straight green for 2 months, and I'm sure we're all grateful for that. But we wouldn't mind a little bit of a dip across the board to just get some of these companies at cheaper prices. And I don't know if we're going to get it. Now, some stocks have been dipping, and they have not been running like the rest of these names. But nonetheless, the broader market has been doing well. Speaking of stocks that have been not running, I wrote up a 15-page, it's actually a 17-page thesis on Grabby Grab. So I'm going to link this right here in the chat. Yes, I know I'm a nerd that freaking writes 17 pages on a company. But nonetheless, I said yesterday I was going to do it. I thought I would finish it by like Wednesday, but I ended up just finishing it today. So you can check it out right here. It's in the chat. The reason I wrote this, quite frankly, is because I'm tired of talking about every little detail about this thesis. It's not a Palantir, it's not a Hood, it's not an NVIDIA. A lot of people are very curious. They don't have enough coverage on it. It doesn't have the media attention. So to me, instead of like going through the thesis every single time, I first and foremost wanted to write it out for me myself to connect all the missing pieces to this puzzle, because I think it's a very interesting, unique, nuanced story that has so many different parts that you have to kind of bring together. And then second of all, I wanted to give it to people that want to, get the full extent of the thesis. So that's out. Anyone can read it. The TLDR, increasing margins, massive TAM, trading at 50% cash. I mean, you put all that together, that sums up my thesis. And so I don't think there's much more to cover on the day-to-day for Grab, quite frankly. I think the coverage for the past 5 months has been trying to understand the story. The thesis is set in stone. The question is, can they execute against the thesis, which is always the question for these growth stocks that have not really made their run yet. And that, I don't know. We're going to find out over the coming couple years. But I re-listened to the earnings call last night. I went deeper into the numbers. I was just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I want to be buying something that I believe is intrinsically undervalued and not chasing Circle or an Oscar, even if they're going to do better, which they probably will do better than Grab in the short term. But I just would sleep well at night knowing I believe it's undervalued. I could be wrong, but I want to allocate capital to something that I think is undervalued. And so that thesis hopefully can get everyone to understand it better, just understand my thoughts. And I wrote 17 pages. And so all those 17 pages hopefully is enough to get people to understand how I think about this. We got about 5 minutes until the market opens. Matthew, think of the super chat. How low do you think Grab will go in RUDCing? I bought 1,500 shares on Friday. I mean, could it go below $4? Yeah, it could, but at that point, it's trading at 70% cash. Like, I think the mispricing of the stock in the context of the thesis is just the market doesn't know what they're doing with the cash on hand, which is why the market's not willing to give them a premium. I think they will soon find out what they're doing with that cash, and that's when things will be changed. But I don't know. So, you can't really say. I could see 420 to 430. I was talking to some people who do TA today, and they said, hey, we kind of see this kind of filling a gap around that area, and then it can kind of make its move back up to $5. So does it see 420, 430? Sure. I think that's possible. Anything is possible. But overall, in a market where everything's running, high flyers, I kind of want to buy something that I believe in that also is not running. I feel like that's a little bit more of a safer option, but time will tell. Time will tell to see how this ends up playing out. 500 million EBITDA, $15 billion company. Remember, look at enterprise value, not market cap. They have 8.7, let's call it $9 billion in cash, $18 billion market cap. Take away the cash. They're a $9 billion enterprise value. This is something that's very important to do because it's hard for me to include cash inside of the market cap because you're just buying cash. You're not really buying anything. There's no premium you're buying towards the business. So to me, realistically, it's trading at 2.7 times EBITDA, or 2.7 times sales, which is not that expensive for a stock that's growing at 20% and growing adjusted EBITDA at 55%. So look, from that perspective, I don't want to keep going into all the numbers, but I wrote this 17-page thesis for anyone to just like listen to or to like read everything I have to say. I could have made a video about it, but for some reason I felt like typing. I don't know why. I came back from New York on Friday night and I just felt like typing for some reason. I usually don't type. By the way, I didn't use AI to make any of this. I like actually typed every word. It was a bit aggressive. I don't know why I felt like typing that much, but I did. And so sometimes I feel like writing stuff out makes it easier to collect your thoughts. And so anyone can read that if they are interested. UNH, dude, I've been looking at UNH a lot more as well. UNH feels, I'm not sure exactly why it's falling. What was funny over Twitter on the weekend, some employee at UNH posted something, and I can't believe he posted it. I didn't even think you're allowed to post this shit. But look at this. This is what an employee posted from UNH. I'm an associate partner here at UNH. Many of us are buying here. I didn't know he was I don't think you're allowed to post that stuff, but nonetheless, he posted it. The build up to July 2nd should be another ramp up since that is the date that employees who can buy with a 10% discount get to buy. Same for Jan 2nd. New CEO did wonders from 1997 to 2017. Bringing Helmsley back is like bringing Steve Jobs back to Apple. That's a hell of a claim. He is the maven of UNH. Remember, CEO was buying at 288 despite knowing that July 2nd is the employee discount day of 10% off. The ESPP, which is the employee stock program, is well documented to date, which is why ramp ups usually occur in early July and early January. You got an associate partner at UNH saying buy the freaking dip because it's about to go back up. And I don't know if this tweet is still up there, but someone screenshotted it. My first response when I saw this was like, are you allowed to say this? This is like, it's not like it's not public info, but it's just, usually you're not supposed to say, hey, I'm taking advantage of this if you're an employee at the company. But obviously this guy is pretty excited to get a company doing this much free cash flow, trading at like 4 times earnings. So from that perspective, I am getting a little bit more excited about UNH. I have not done a full deep dive, but they just might have some headlines that could take them down. I would not be surprised though if this gaps up to 350. I would not be surprised at all. It was basically at 330 the other day, and then over the past couple of days it came back down. However, Oscar, which we'll see how it opens up in about 2 minutes, this thing is growing. And if you look at some DCF models and you take away any of the growth and you still just assume that it compounds without top line revenue growth, it still theoretically is undervalued. So Oscar is having its grab moment. Grab in February was got a lot of hype from like social media, and it pumped up like 10-15%, but then that hype died down and then the stock fell back to reality. I wonder if Oscar can hold on to the hype that it's getting. And I think it should, because functionally it is undervalued, like when you look at the numbers. But does the hype sustain itself? And I think it can, quite frankly. It's also not an international company, so you have more US investors that are interested. It's above $5. So, there's a lot of dynamics here that I think can keep it up, but it's got to hold on to some of the momentum that it had last week, getting it from social media. But nonetheless, it feels like another retail win for the broader market. How was the food with Steve? The food with Steve was awesome. If you watch the Friday market close, I shared some pictures of the food. I had some of the chicken parm and I brought it home at night and I ate it on Friday night, and it was better at 11 p.m. at night, quite frankly, than it was in the restaurant. Look at him, dude. He's buff. He's jacked. This guy's freaking jacked. Absolutely jacked. But it was great. I'm happy I got to hang out with a good friend. Steve might make it onto the show today. I'm going to see. He said he might be available. If he is, then he'll pop on in probably like 20, 30 minutes. If not, then we'll get him on later during the week. All right, here we go. Markets are open overnight. Let's see what we've got going on. Oscar opens up 1% higher. Palantir down about 0.22. Robinhood Bitcoin's down. It got to below 100K at one point. Now it's back above 100. So Robinhood probably taking a little bit of a hit from that. Robinhood down about 1% as we open. Tessie is flat at 322. Tessie is flat at 322. Nvidia is, wow, down 1%. We did have some new China export control restrictions that were introduced on Friday. So that could be potentially continuing to affect NVIDIA. That's why NVIDIA fell 1% on Friday in the first place. HIMS is down about 1/3%. AMD is down about 1%. S&P down 1/3%. That's similar to the future. SoFi back below 15. Grab. Okay, so Grab doesn't trade overnight, but there might be some trades coming in. Grab right here down about 1%, 445. It doesn't actually trade overnight, but you can kind of trade it on Legend. You can't trade it on the regular app and on other brokerages. But Grab right here, 445. That's down 1%. Google, again, continuing to get hit. 165.86. We'll talk more about Google. YouTube Shorts has now surpassed 200 billion views every single day. 200 billion views. That's the new stat that came out this morning. That is basically 10 minutes a day if you divide that by the number of seconds versus the number of users. So it's pretty incredible. Google not getting some momentum. That one's down about 0.5%. Reddit right here down about 1%. Amazon down 0.5%. Meta is down again another 0.5%. I mean, it's a little bit of a dip, I guess. Bitcoin right here, 100.7. SMCI down about 2%. Apple down about 1%. ELF down 2%. PayPal down 0.5%. AppLovin continues to be on a absolute downward trajectory. This one is getting demolished ever since it got into the S&P 500. That's down about, or didn't get into the S&P 500. That's down 1%. Circle. Does Circle trade overnight? Yeah, it does. Circle down 2%. Circle was at 246 to 235. Circle down about 2.2%. Pinterest is down 0.5%. Enphase down a little bit. Microsoft down 0.5%. Uber down 0.5%. ASTS is flat. That doesn't trade overnight. Robinhood 77.26. Palantir 136. Tessie is down 1%. Even with the Robotaxi launch, the market doesn't care, at least right now. Walmart is down 1.3. IREN. Okay, I'm just going to say this right now. I am not advocating to buy IREN. I know nothing about IREN, but I'm here to tell you what the streets are saying. And the streets are saying IREN's next. Okay? The streets are saying IREN is next. What do I mean by the streets? I mean by FinTwit is thinking IREN's going to be the next one, like an Oscar, like a HIMS, yada, yada. I don't know if that's the case. I've not looked into it. This is a Bitcoin miner, but there's also a big energy component to their business. I don't fully understand the thesis because I haven't looked into it, but the streets are saying IREN is next to make a run. Also, Zeta, which has already had a run, that is getting a lot of momentum from the streets as well. Zeta's up 8% overnights. I don't know what the hell Zeta does. Someone's got to tell me what Zeta does. I've not looked into this, but this was up 12% on Friday. It's up another 8% overnight. Those are two stocks that are becoming popular on Twitter. Nubank is down 1%. DoorDash down 0.5%. Delta down 1.32%. Does JetBlue trade after hours? JetBlue does not. That one's flat. And then Tessie, wow, 315. Tesla down 2%. Goodness. All right. So Tesla's getting a little bit of a hit. So we're getting a red open across the board. It's not an aggressive red open, but it is red. S&P 500 right there, 591, down about 0.39. Googs 165. I mean, if this continues tomorrow morning, then we should get the dip if people have cash that they're willing to allocate, potentially 2 to 3% across the board. Nothing crazy. Nothing's down 10, 15%. No extreme swings, but even AMD 126. AMD was at 132 on Friday. So you are seeing some reversals of that across the board. Oklo. Okay, so let's check some of the high flyers. So Oklo right here. Oof, that's down 5%. What about Quantum QBTS? That one doesn't trade. Rigetti. That one doesn't. That one's down 1.6%. And then IONQ. That one's down 2%. What about GameStop AMC? GameStop down 2.73%. AMC is flat. By the way, fun fact on AMC. The contract in the stock market with the most amount of open interest is AMC. It is a $27 call. It has 233,000 open contracts that had open interest, but it expired on Friday. So people bought AMC calls probably years ago thinking it would be $27. It had 233,000 contracts that were open in terms of its open interest, but that expired on Friday. The second largest one is Intel. It has 230,000 contracts open for a $60 strike, expiring January 2026. Now, I don't know if Intel gets to 60, but people probably bought this when it was, $45, $50 a while ago. But those contracts are open. NVIDIA right here, down about 1.63%. AMD down 1.7%. And then HIMS down 1.59 as well. If you have covered calls, if this continues into the market open tomorrow, these covered calls should not do too bad. Yeah, Tessie right here. Again, we're going to look at a lot of Robotaxi stuff today, but Tesla is still not able to withstand some of the stuff going on in the Middle East, which is causing some pain. Oil prices are up about 2.5%. Now, futures were projecting an 8% open yesterday. So this is way more tame than what people thought would happen. We'll talk about the Strait of Hormuz in a little bit because that is something we're going to have to pay attention to all week. But yeah, overall, oil price is not that bad. And broader market, if we're going to take 2-3% down, I think everyone's kind of prepared for that. And it's not the worst thing. Not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, the short interest on ASTS is absolutely crazy. 100%. ASTS was almost 50 on Friday. Came back down to 46, but it did get to some incredible levels. VG, does that trade overnight? I don't think it does. It does not. However, VG and Next, natural gas, they might be beneficiaries of some of the stuff going on as well. Where's ExxonMobil? Some of the energy names. Wow, look at that. ExxonMobil up 8%. What about Chevron? Chevron is up 4%, and then XLE, that's the ETF for energy, that is up a 1.1%. So what about Oxy? I'm going to guess it's up 3%. Oxy is up 4%. Buffett's got to be a little happy about that. Buffett damn near owns almost 50% of the company. So you got Oxy getting some love as well. Did you buy Bitcoin? Yes, I bought Bitcoin. I bought at 101,000.3. So we got to 98. I did not get the bottom over the weekend, but I did buy about $500 worth of it at 101.3. I'm happy we're back above 100. That's nice. It did surprise me going below 99. I mean, we got to 98 at one point, and I didn't expect that. Saylor is going to be buying again. He tweeted his infamous picture. So we'll get a buy from him tomorrow, but his buys were probably at 104 to 105. So someone is selling. I don't think it's BlackRock. I don't think it's the Chinese. I don't think it's the Saudis. I don't think it's Saylor. Maybe it's a retail. But Bitcoin back below 100 at one point today, below 98 or 99. Definitely signaled that there was some bearish momentum. And then you got Robinhood right here down about 2.8%, likely because Bitcoin was down as well today. You know, Robinhood's doing a Bitcoin giveaway, dude. So if you deposit money into Robinhood, you can be entered in to win one of 5. They're giving away 5 Bitcoin by July 7th. And so I think I deposited like $100 yesterday into Robinhood, and it said I have 100 entries. Your max is 1 million entries. So theoretically, you could deposit $1 million and have 1 million chances to win. But I didn't know they were giving away 5 Bitcoin by July 7th. So yeah, if you deposit any money, you're going to technically be, for every dollar, you're going to get an entry. And who knows, maybe your boy can win a Bitcoin, or maybe you guys can win a Bitcoin. Now it's going to be very hard. It's going to be a hard probability to win, but nonetheless, if you do deposit any money, they are giving away some Bitcoin. Where is Coinbase? Yeah, we didn't look at that. Coinbase monster run last week. Coinbase down about 4%. Coinbase touched 315, I think, or 310 last week. So Coinbase wasn't too bad. Tesla's back to 320. Tessie back to 320. All right, nice recovery. I still think earnings are going to suck for Tesla. I think all of us know that it's going to suck. However, now that it's real, what we're seeing with the Robotaxi is like really real. Like, look at this app, bro. It's really real. Kind of feels like, hey, we're going to see some momentum in the context of Tesla. I think let's start with Tesla. Let's start with Tesla. We talked about Iran, Israel a lot last night. We'll go through some of those updates, but let's start with Tessie and get into that conversation. All right, cool. So Tesla. I have been watching all the videos that you guys have been probably watching as well. Sawyer and Farzad, 2 of the leading Tesla people, they were posting a lot about it, and it was just pretty incredible. Same thing with Dave Lee. So I have a bunch of things I want to show you guys, but here's Farzad's video right here. We're just going to let it play without the audio.
Okay, so we're in.
This was his first Tesla ride. And as you can see right there, so that guy in the left-hand side or the right-hand side, he is the safety person or whatever that has to be there. You can see he's listening to some Metallica right there. You Must Burn. I've never heard that song, but hoping it's a decent song and it's better than Enter Sandman or the puppet thing or the other ones. Anyway, You Must Burn. So he's listening to Metallica. He can control the weather. He can control his Spotify. He can see his ETA, all that stuff. And he's in the back and the car is driving itself. Now, granted, it is geofenced and he has that safety person with him. The only thing the safety person is able to do is like pull over. He doesn't have any pedals. He doesn't have any steering wheel. So the only thing he can do is like pull the car over. But Farzad also could pull the car over from the back seat as well. But it's really cool. it's really freaking cool to see this happening. Now, I use FSD every day. I used it today. So, I mean, like, I know what it feels like. But to see someone not be in the driver's seat, which is kind of the whole, the whole thesis of what the Robotaxi looks like, that is what is so exciting. This is the headquarters of Tesla. You got a bunch of people in the Tesla AI team in the Robotaxi launch party. So everyone is kind of just chilling out right there, seeing this whole thing launch. This was something really cool as well. So if you try to tip at the end of the ride, it asks you to tip it. And when you try to tip it like $1, $2, it says, just kidding. It's like this really funny Easter egg that they put into this, because obviously, why would you tip a Robotaxi? But they're just having fun with it. They're having fun with it. On top of that, Elon announced today that everyone who took a ride, you paid a $420 flat fee. You paid a $420 flat. I mean, this is just genius marketing. Absolutely incredible rollout. They invited all the right influencers. They made sure that there was hype and there was buzz. They actually did it on June 22nd. It was supposed to happen June 12th. They delayed it by a week, and they were actually able to pull it off on June 22nd today. And it was just fun seeing all of the different content and footage on what it looks like. This is what the Tesla Robotaxi app looks like. So I don't know if I haven't tried to download it. I don't know if you guys have downloaded it. I don't know if you needed a special link or something to download it. Let me see if I search it right now. Robotaxi. Yeah, it doesn't pop up on my phone. I think they might have got a special link to be able to download it for the beta. But there you go. You have the Robotaxi app, and then the app itself, you can see right here, essentially looks like this. So you see that $420 flat fee. You can decide where you want to go to. Again, it is geofenced in this area in Austin. And yes, there is someone who sits with you in the car. So it's not something perfect. It's not going to be contributing to the bottom line or top line revenue growth at all, but it's real. It's like really real. This has been a decade of what people have been waiting for. And I mean, it's incredible. Like, just like, even if Tesla's not a heavy position in your portfolio, you can't deny that this is what it should feel like. Like, I did the Waymo in San Francisco. It didn't feel like this. Based on all these videos that I'm seeing, based on how sleek the experience was, like, the Waymo was a clunky experience. The car was ugly, in my opinion. You got in, it wasn't that comfortable. It was ridiculously overpriced. I know this is a beta, which is why they're only paying $5. But the point is, like, we paid like $20 to travel 1 mile. It was kind of stupid. And it didn't feel the same. And obviously I haven't experienced it yet, but just the sleekness, the design of everything, the experience you get in the back, it just feels really cool. It feels like what the future should look like. It feels like the Apple version of what a Robotaxi looks like. Again, you can leave a tip and then it'll show you that we're just kidding. So you can't actually leave a tip. This is top tier glazing. This absolutely is top tier glazing, but I feel like I can say this because I'm not the biggest Tesla bull in the world. I didn't even believe self-driving was a thing 2 years ago. You can watch some of my old content. I didn't think so. I thought it was never going to be safe. I had all the conventional doubts that most people had. And then I got a Tesla. And I thankfully got FSD at version 13 or 12.8. So I didn't have to deal with the trials and errors of FSD sucking. But now I'm a believer, and it's hard not to believe in it. It's really hard not to believe in it. So Elon said right here, super congrats to the Tesla AI software and chip design team on a successful Robotaxi launch, culmination of a decade of hard work. Both the AI chip and software teams were built from scratch within Tesla. So the question simply becomes, hey, when is this going to have a meaningful impact on the bottom line? And I think the question is, it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But it is exciting to see this play out. Here's another video. Here's what happens when you hit the support button in a Tesla Robotaxi. And this is what the agent ends up saying or answers in terms of, or what they say when they answer your question.
Will we get you in trouble if we hit the support button?
Too surely. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, trying to get the in focus.
So the Robotaxi support, how may I help?
Hi, we're just testing out the support and seeing how you guys do this. So we can basically ask any question, or how does the support work?
As far as questions, I would like to instruct you to refer to our website for any questions on your support the vehicle, make sure everything.
Okay, the audio isn't the best, but you guys get the point. You can be connected to a support agent immediately and start to ask questions. And if you have any issues, yada, yada. I imagine at scale, Tesla will have thousands of support agents that you can call by at once. Wow, Tessie goes green, 323. Tessie goes green. Market's trying to go green as well, but Tesla in particular is going green. I think that's a real person. That is not Grok, from my understanding. It's a real person. They do not have 10 cars. They have 30 cars. They do not have 10. They have 30. So it's not 10. It's about 35, actually. There's the picture to prove it's 35. But still, You know, eventually it'll be 350,000 and then maybe 3 million after that. So I'm just like, it's cool, bro. And it makes me want to buy Tesla, more Tesla, even in this market where I'm waiting until after Q2. I really want to see what happens on Q2 earnings. I don't think it has to drop, back to like 250. I don't think it's going to gap up to 400. So it might just be flat. But for me, my decision to allocate more towards Tesla, I'd rather wait until we get Q2. But I mean, if the hype is real and Elon announces some special features and he says, hey, we're unveiling it from 35 cars to like, I don't know, 150 cars in Q2, and whatever announcements he makes, the affordable vehicle that's supposed to start production by the end of H1 2025, there's a lot of catalysts to keep this valuation supported at these levels, even if the fundamentals don't justify it yet. Because again, the market's betting on growth. I mean, this is a very cliche argument. It's not like a nuanced or interesting argument about Tesla, but the reason the market is giving Tesla multiple versus a Microsoft in comparison is because the market doesn't think Microsoft can get to 6 trillion anytime soon. The market thinks Tesla could get to 10 trillion if you turn on the S curves of Robotaxi and Optimus. And today's the first day we're seeing real evidence for Robotaxi. We haven't gotten any real evidence for Optimus. And when that happens and you compound that on top of Robotaxi, and then you really start seeing it in the numbers, which I think is going to take about a year for it to come down to the financials. But it's there. It's in front of us. Everyone can see it. And people want to bet on the future. And that's what we're looking at. And that's why these multiples are, rather aggressive right here. Uber is basically flat. Uber's not really down on this news. At least it wasn't. Let's see. Tesla right here, 324, baby. Tesla goes green. Uber down about 1%, basically what it was in the opening minutes. And then Robinhood as well, 77. That one's better than 76.20. Reddit right here, 136. Reddit's still falling. Amazon 207. Amazon was at 220 last week, so Amazon taking a hit. And then Meta was at 705, back down to 676. I think the street's a little worried that Zucks is going on a spending spree. And we know Zucks is able to spend money. I mean, if you've ever tried to build something in your life and you failed, just know that Zucks wasted $70 billion in 2022 of investor capital to build out his little Sims reality in the metaverse. Like completely wasted. Like, because no one can tell me the metaverse like that had any meaningful impact on Meta as a company or any tangible ROI that shareholders can look to. Like, there is no metaverse from my understanding. And Reality Labs is still losing money. But he got his act together by the end of 2022, early 2023, and started, doing what he needed to do. But like, the point is, we know he can spend. We know he can spend. And he might be spending for this AI arms race even further as well, which could be creating potentially some pressures on Meta stock. Tesla is also full vertical integration. That is correct. When Farzad said Uber's dead, look, I don't think Uber's dead. I just personally think this looks like the future. And it's one of those things where if it is the future and we're seeing it right now, doesn't mean people are going to stop using Ubers. But if people like autonomous rides better than someone picking you up, then Uber is going to have to partner with Waymo or some other company, Zoox, to be able to get those autonomous vehicles on their fleet. And then the question is Tesla, it's very simple to me. Is Tesla cheaper than a Waymo or whatever other Uber self-driving car? And besides cheaper, is there a better experience? And I think the answer to both of those questions is going to be yes. And the reason it's going to be cheaper is because there's going to be more supply. And the reason it's going to be a better experience is just based on the videos I'm looking at today. It looks like a sexy experience compared to a Waymo. So from that perspective, it doesn't say Uber is dead, but like, I think Farzad's point is market cap expansion. What is the growth opportunity the market sees? I don't know if it's that aggressive. In terms of FSD and self-driving versus Grab, I wrote about that extensively in that 15-page thesis I wrote tonight. It's a very simple answer. I don't think self-driving is coming to Southeast Asia anytime soon. Now, is it going to try to get piloted and eventually start to pop up in different areas? Sure. But I just think if you've been to Southeast Asia, if you know anything about the region, Tesla is not even in North America yet in terms of a full-on robotaxi network at meaningful scale. We have 35 cars today. So I think they got to figure out how to dominate North America and Europe before they really try to go international. And then again, the governments there are not going to be that conducive to say, oh, thousands of people lose their jobs, which is their livelihood. I mean, Grab is a significant percentage of GDP. I think it was 5% of Malaysia's GDP back in 2023 across the entire region. And they employ a lot of people. There's a lot of money that flows through Grab. That's why governments are so connected with it. The idea that an autonomous vehicle company is going to come in and take all those drivers' jobs out of the ecosystem is just unlikely. And also, Grab is already partnering with autonomous vehicle companies to be able to explore what that technology would look like with their fleet utilization. So I don't think it's a bear case for Grab. The problem is for Uber, most of their ecosystem still is in the United States in terms of, or in North America. And that's where Tesla can really expand immediately. So Uber's in India. Tesla's not going to India anytime soon, but a lot of money that Uber generates, a lot of the net income is in North America, and Tesla is here. Now, Tesla's still far away from scaling in North America, but nonetheless, that is where the perception risk, I think, is deeper for Uber versus some of the other companies internationally. So that's what we got. Yeah, that's the coverage on Robotaxi. It's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible. If Elon was smart, the front seat safety person would be a hot chick, not some dude. That's funny. That would definitely get a lot of attention if they did that. But regardless, I think that having that safety person there is important. Tesla right here at 322 in this initial beta launch. And those support people, they didn't really say anything. I don't think they're like, not that they're not allowed to say anything, but in all the videos, you couldn't really like talk to them and ask them questions. I think they were strictly there just in case something went wrong, but they're not supposed to be there to like answer questions or anything like that. So, from that perspective, it was just someone in the vehicle there to make sure everything was okay. And I haven't heard any crashes reported. I haven't heard any mess ups. Dave Lee took like freaking 7 rides. Farzad took 8 rides. I think Sawyer took 5 rides. So all these people took multiple rides, and so far nothing bad has happened yet, which is pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. Amit believes Tesla will outscale to Waymo levels in a year. Delusional. The limit is not manufacturing capacity. The problem is regulation. So the problem of regulation affects everyone. That's my thing. When people say it's a regulation issue, like, okay, so Waymo will also have regulatory issues as well. Now, you can say some of their issues will be mitigated by LiDAR. I get that. But still, eventually the regulations will shift to an autonomous future for everyone. I don't know when that's going to happen. Maybe it's 10 years from now. Maybe it's not anytime soon. Maybe it's 10 months from now. But when that does happen and Tesla gets the green light to say, okay, we can press one button, click one switch, and by then, hopefully 10 million vehicles that are on the road can have a chance to enter into the Robotaxi. And if only 10% of them, 5% of them agree to allow their car to be part of the Robotaxi network, you've instantly got magnitudes of scale above Waymo if the regulatory environment is equal for everybody. And that's like, logically, I don't see how Waymo competes from that perspective. I really don't. And that's not saying Waymo's dead. That's not saying Waymo's not going to be a big player. It's just saying like that Tesla, it feels like this is their market to lose. And if they end up, going down that route, I feel like there's going to be a good shot. I think you're downplaying LiDAR requirement. Maybe I am. I'm not the most well-versed on LiDAR versus neural nets. My experience with my Tesla has been pretty incredible without LiDAR, but quite frankly, there's a lot of people that are smarter on the nuances of LiDAR. Maybe I am downplaying it, but it feels like we're in the future. It feels like it is happening. Whether it's Waymo or Tesla, it's going to be an arms race for who wins the autonomous future. But it's happening. That's pretty incredible to see it all play out right now. Cool. So that's what we got in the context of Tessie. If you got Tesla stock, I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, it's expensive, but I think this is what you've been waiting for decades, especially if you've been an OG early investor. You've been waiting for this moment. It's happening. Really cool to see it happen. And now it's just a question of how quickly they can scale to make this happen into the future. Palantir right here is down on the day. A lot of people thought Palantir might open up green based on the perception of it being used in Iran, Israel, and maybe it is, but Palantir already has gained a lot of momentum over the past couple of weeks. Palantir right here down about 1.17%. Let's transition to Iran, Israel, get some updates on that. By the way, SoFi, I don't know why this thing is down 4%. I feel like that's a bit aggressive. Chime, by the way, how about that one? Doesn't trade overnight, but it was down 5% on Friday. So Chime also got hit pretty badly on Friday. Chime was at $48 at one point. So this is another IPO that, look, it's been a good IPO because I think they IPO'd at 21 and they're at 27. So that's successful, but still they're down aggressively. And also Aero, that drone company, down 5% on Friday. They opened from 10 to basically 35. Or sorry, they got to 39. Now they're back to 21. I like this because I like some of the froth leaving the market. The last one to fall, which I don't know if it needs to fall, is Circle. And if you're a Circle bull, I wish the best for you. I don't want this stock to fall. I just think it is a bit frothy. And if it were to fall, it would not surprise me. But Circle right here at 233, down about 3%. Does it need to go back to 100? It doesn't have to. Does it need to gap up to 350 like some people are saying and overtake Coinbase's market cap? I mean, we'll see. But Circle right here at 233. And I think it would be healthy to get some of that money leaving hyped up stocks that really don't have a lot of fundamentals and maybe flowing into Google, which for some reason continues to be disrespected. But we're going to see kind of how the market plays out over the coming weeks. And if this Iran-Israel stuff at all hurts some of the perception we have. SMCI, that one was down a little bit as well. It was up on Friday. It was, down about 2% right here. All right, so Iran-Israel, let's talk a little bit more about that. Here is what Mr. JD Vance had to say about the strike that we had last night.
No, Kristen, we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program. And let me just say, Kristen, that we're incredibly grateful and proud of the American Air Force pilots who did an incredible job last night. The operation was really extraordinary. These guys flew from Missouri. They didn't land a single time. They dropped 30,000-pound bombs on a target the size of a washing machine, and then got back home safely without ever landing in the Middle East or ever stopping other than to briefly refuel. And of course, they did that in the air. So it's really an incredible operation, a testament to the power of American military. And I think what shows what can happen when you have that great American military in the hands of capable presidential leadership. What we did is we destroyed the Iranian nuclear program. I think we set that program back substantially, and we did it without endangering the lives of the American pilots. That's an incredible thing, and I think we all should be proud. Whatever our politics, we should be proud of what these guys accomplished. A very, very high impact mission under a lot of pressure.
So that was Mr. JD Vance. Did Halliburton actually blow his Achilles just now? Did that happen? This is NBA talk for those that don't know what I'm saying, but did he actually just tear his Achilles in Game 7? That is wild, bro. OKC's up by 2 right now. Did it actually happen? That's true? Goodness gracious, bro. That just just as a human being, he's worked so freaking hard to get to this point. He's literally the reason the Pacers are in Game 7. And he's out. On a drive from the three-point line, my freaking goodness, bro. That's sad, bro. That's just you just sit back and you're like, goodness, that sucks. It's Achilles, bro. Goodness, that sucks, man. That sucks. I guess we're gonna see. We're gonna see if the Pacers can do it without him. It's kind of hard to believe that'd be the case. And what sucks for the OKC Thunder is if they win, they're gonna be known as the team that won because someone got injured, which sucks for them, right? Because they have to deal with that perception as well. Damn, that's crazy. He was injured already and he was playing on a bad ankle. Well, I mean, you can't hate that he tried. I mean, it's Game 7, right? Wouldn't you play in Game 7? It's Game 7, right? But still, that's going to set him back a couple years. That's tough. All right, well, that's what we got for the NBA updates. In terms of what JD Vance said, so it was a targeted strike. And the strike was done with American soldiers who flew 37 hours nonstop to be able to drop those bunker bombs. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said, Iran strikes were an incredible and overwhelming success, devastated the Iranian nuclear program on President Trump's command. U.S. executed 3 precision strikes on Iran nuclear facilities. We planned to strike Iran, took months and weeks of positioning to be ready when the president called, which means they were planning this during the diplomatic efforts. Either he's lying and they planned it in 2 days, or they legit were doing diplomacy as a show because eventually they were going to attack because, just 2 weeks ago, Trump was saying diplomacy is working very well. So if they're saying they were positioning themselves for an attack for months, then I guess they had no intentions of real diplomacy. When this president speaks, the world should listen. Trump seeks peace and Iran should take that path. So there you go. You got JD Vance and Pete Hegseth saying this is what we needed to do. It was a targeted attack. We got the job done, and based on doing what we had to do, there can be a better chance now for peace. Again, the market's perception on this, based on what we're looking at right now in the overnight markets, is that they don't care. Oil prices are up a little bit. We don't know if that's going to meaningfully have that bad of an impact. Tesla right here, 321. And broader S&P, I mean, Moody's didn't take the market down. Bond auctions not taking the market down. Tariffs not taking the market down. Israel, Iran, initially when the strike broke out, not taking the market down. And now the United States getting involved. If you want to call it down 0.44%, taking the market down, then sure. But I just think this market is way too resilient. There's too much money on the sidelines by hedge funds and in money market funds. And people are salivating for a dip. I mean, if Robinhood goes to freaking 71, that will be a dip that people buy. Even though 71 is still, and it's an aggressive multiple for Robinhood. It's still up like 80% year to date at that point. So I think from that perspective, there's money ready to buy, and we need an actual catastrophic event to happen in the economy, whether it's interest rates, labor market, et cetera, inflation, for this to meaningfully see some downside. And I just don't see it now. And the last time we had it was when Trump announced reciprocal tariffs that we had never seen in 100 years. That's what caused the markets to crash. And, maybe that has a chance to continue in the future. But as of now, I don't really see it. Yeah, Brent crude is up about 3% currently right now. Okay, so Strait of Hormuz, let's talk about that. So the Strait of Hormuz is a part of the world where 20% of the oil flow runs through. The oil supply passes through 20%. 20% of the world's oil supply passes through it. So the United States this morning called on China to prevent Iran from closing the Strait of Hormuz. Iran threatened this morning that, hey, we might end up closing it. Now, the Strait of Hormuz, again, is a narrow, strategically vital waterway between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. We were talking about it yesterday as well. 20% of the world's oil supply. If Iran were to close this, it would massively disrupt supply chains and oil prices worldwide. Secretary of State Marco Rubio today said, I encourage the Chinese government in Beijing to call them about that. China gets a lot of their oil from Iran because they heavily depend on the Strait of Hormuz for their oil. China is Iran's most important oil customer and maintains friendly relations with the Islamic Republic, although they did not explicitly say they would back them up during the conflict over the past few weeks. This has kind of been my take over the past couple weeks of analyzing this. China or Russia didn't really stand up and say, hey, Iran, if you want to get into a war with Israel and the United States, we're ready to back you, because I don't think China and Russia want to get involved in this. So the U.S. today basically said, we talked to China. We think they're going to make sure that Iran doesn't engage in what J.D. Vance called something that would be suicidal for them, which would be closing down the Strait of Hormuz, because again, Iran only makes their money through oil, because we've sanctioned every other part of the country, so they don't really make any money through anything else. So it would hurt them more than anyone else. I think if they were to do this, it would be temporary and hurt them in their oil revenues, but it's a risk that we have to analyze. I just don't think it's a risk that's meaningfully going to manifest itself into something that's actually that bad. So, I mean, this week we'll find out, but as of now, I don't think it's the biggest risk for the broader market. Oscar, we didn't look at Oscar yet. Oscar is green by 1%. Oscar's green. Oscar is up. It's up by 1%. Amid China would be hit the hardest by far, and that's why they won't do it. They wouldn't make themselves open for attacks from everyone. Yeah, agreed. I mean, if most of the oil that China gets, or at least a significant part of oil that China gets, is from Iran, and you need the Strait of Hormuz to transport that oil, shutting it down would hurt the United States. It would hurt global oil prices, but most importantly, it would hurt China. And so from a game theory perspective, you would imagine China would not want that to play out. Okay, what does Zeta do, bro? Every time I see the stock, I think of zebras. Why is this thing up 13%? What do they do? Let's look at Zeta Global. They're a software company. Marketing. We've made marketing into a meme stock now. What is this thing? The Zeta marketing platform has the tools to grow your customers and business in one integrated system. It's a dashboard for marketing analytics. That's what. They have some AI agents. Why are people obsessed with this? Why do people like this? Zeta. Can someone give me a good 2-sentence thesis on why we should be so excited about this? About our story. Our mission. We unify, identify, intelligence, and activation to create better experiences for consumers and brands. Founded in 2007. Our commitment to achieve great things together. Our virtues: humanize, commit, collaborate, innovate, grow. Goodness gracious, bro. Buybacks? That's the story? I mean, the market cap, it's a small cap, so it's not like it's a $3 billion company. Year to date, Zeta, however you say it, is up. It's down 24%. Okay, so it's not like it's in the past month, it's up 7. Past 6 months, it's down 25. Past 5 days, it's up 15. Dude, this has not been a meme stock yet, because it hasn't really had a meme-ish type of run. Past year, it's only down 11%. All time, it's up 71%, but it went public in 2021. AI marketing, I guess, is what people are excited about. They have a great income statement and balance sheet. Yeah, but why are people excited about it? Besides the financials, what else is getting people super interested about it? Because maybe the financials are great, but like what exactly is flocking people to look at this thing? Dude, there's so many names that retail's finding, and some of these are pure gems, but some of these are also just like, all right, what's the point of looking at this? And I think everyone's trying to delineate. I will have a deep dive on Thursday on Lemonade. So that one I know people are thinking about as well. That one pumped 10% on Friday, basically flat. Currently right now, Couch did a video. Okay, so we'll watch Couch's video later, or I'll watch it. I'll try to get his take as well. Iran is a Bitcoin miner, but also they're a broader energy play versus Bitcoin mining. So people are getting excited about that. I just don't know enough about it, but yeah, people are thinking of that one as well. Palantir is, where's Palantir? Down about 1%. 135.74. Again, just putting it out there to remind everybody, Palantir is still trading at aggressive multiples. This is a $324 billion company. It could fall 10% and be a $295 billion company. And still, I don't think everyone would be that upset at the multiple it's trading at, unless you aggressively bought it at 130 to 140, which is fine. But I think we all have to remember the main thing that I cared about is, can we normalize triple digits? And I think we have to an extent, because I think if we dip anywhere to like 102, 103, like people will buy that dip easily. But not being at 145 and being at 135 is not really a dip, in my opinion. So I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. So that's what we got with Palantir. There's a Robinhood Legend. I'm using Robinhood Legend right now to see this. Selling cash secured puts tomorrow, most likely. I mean, yeah, if we open up red, tomorrow will be a day to sell some puts. Again, I continue to think it is a covered call market. Even if you're aggressive with your covered calls, you've got momentum to the downside that is not raging forward every single week, which kind of pauses some of these rallies, which is where you can make money in the spread when it comes to covered calls. ASTS doesn't trade overnight. Thoughts on ASTS? Look, I mean, I did a deep dive on it. I like it. I think it makes sense. I'm not buying it at all-time highs. I personally I'm just not buying it looking at this chart. I would need a pullback anywhere at least to like 35 to get interested, realistically 32. If I miss it, I miss it. But I definitely don't know enough about it to be like, I'm going to buy it at all-time highs. I mean, I think generally a rule of thumb is that if you don't know enough about a stock, like the reason I'm buying Robin at all-time highs is because I think I know a decent chunk of it where I'm comfortable buying it. And I can justify it to myself. But I don't know enough about Circle or ASTS or any of these names that have pumped, or Oscar even, to be able to be like, yep, it's easy to buy it at these levels. It very well might be easy. It's just about your risk tolerance of how easy. Oscar, by the way, 22. That's up 3.72% currently right now as well. I texted Steve. We'll see if he can come on. He said he might be free. He'll probably let us know in a couple minutes if he can make it. If not, then he'll be on later during the week as well. What else? What else do we got? Oh, mortgages and Hood. Yeah, we can talk about that. Dude, this thing was crazy. Vlad dropped a bombshell when it came to the idea of Robinhood. We found it out right before he tweeted it. I think he had to tweet this because like someone found out, and then I quote tweeted it, and people started seeing that Robinhood's putting up mortgages. So Vlad was like, hey, some of you may have noticed that we're piling in a new mortgage benefit. It's like, yeah, we all kind of saw it 10 hours before you posted this. But he said a mortgage is among the largest and most important financial transactions of your life, and we're proud to be offering one of the lowest rates on the market, plus $500 off closing costs, all in partnership with Sage Home Loans. Let me know what you think. I think you'll love it. Now, obviously, the 6.1% advertised rate is not going to be the exact rate that you get because there's closing costs and all these other fees. But some people, they called up Sage Homes based on this Robinhood referral for being a gold subscriber, which to get it, you have to be a gold subscriber. And it was legit. Although it's not literally 6.1%, it is way cheaper than what they could get from other places. And again, Robinhood doesn't need to dominate the mortgage market. Robinhood just has to say, hey, we have 25 million people on our platform. A lot of them in their late 20s, early 30s that are going to be buying a home soon. What if we give them $500 to get a mortgage with us, and we give them a way better rate than they can get from somewhere else, and we get a small fee for referring them to a partner that we're working with? It's genius. Absolutely genius. It makes a lot of sense. And people are saying, well, isn't it similar to SoFi's loan business platform? Yes, it is very similar to that. I think the bulls on SoFi would say the loan business platform is the growth thesis. For Robinhood, that is not the growth thesis. This is just one part of their overall business. So I've never had a problem with SoFi's LPB. I've just never thought it was the most exciting thing. Like, the reason this is exciting to me on Robinhood is just another part of the ecosystem they're developing. Robinhood Banking is coming out in September. So now it's not just going to be your investment money on the platform. It's going to be all this actual direct deposit money as well. When you combine those things along with the fact that you have a credit card, you can buy crypto, maybe they lose money on the mortgages, but they get you to buy the credit card, get you to deposit their money. I mean, there's so many ways this ecosystem starts to really compound. And that's why I'm excited about it. But I don't think they have to make a lot of money off this. They could just keep this as something that naturally deepens the engagement in the platform, and that itself is worth it. And if they do end up making a couple $1,000s from referring these people to Sage Homes, and that starts to become a revenue stream that is diversified from the market going up or down, which is my biggest bear case for Robinhood, which is that if the market crashes in 2026, Robinhood is going back to $40. It's just that simple. They're not going to be able to survive because their transaction revenues, crypto revenues are going to fall down off a cliff. Now, that would be a good dip to buy if you're long-term bullish on them, but you're not going to be able to trade at these multiples if the market crashes. And granted, everything's going to crash if the market crashes, but Robinhood uniquely makes money off of a bullish environment. And just look at their 2022, revenues to kind of see if that's accurate. So they need to diversify. And they've been doing a good job doing things like prediction markets and all this stuff to diversify futures, all this active traders on the desktop, but they need to keep diversifying aggressively before we get the next market crash. Because we will eventually, and not just like an April 2-month crash. We'll actually get a 12-month crash like we got in 2022. I don't know if it's next year, maybe it's 2 years from now, maybe it's 5 years from now, but that will happen eventually. And they need to be ready to hedge themselves in that environment. And that's why I think this referral thing is rather bullish. Sylvester, thank you for the $10 super chat. Admit, will Micron pump or dump on earnings? I have no clue. I know very little about Micron. I understand that they're in the memory space. It is a competitive space. Now, NVIDIA did mention them as one of their top suppliers at GTC in Paris, which is what pumped them up last week. And I think they got a bid over Samsung, is a report that came out as well for some of the NVIDIA Blackwell architecture. The stock is up a good amount, though, from the absolute lows. Like year to date, it's up. Yeah, dude, it's up 40%. So this one is, I don't know the financials that well to say it's priced for perfection, but they're going to have to put up some good numbers to give them even more momentum on this 40% year to date. And then from the lows, it's basically doubled from 65 to 123. So I don't think it has to dump if they put up decent numbers. I mean, they're growing at 70, 80% year over year. But as long as they stay in line with expectations, hopefully it can keep these gains as well. We just got to see if it plays out. By the way, OKC 27, Pacers 26. Halliburton is injured, unfortunately. And he is not going to be playing for a while. Did you hear about Perplexity and Apple? Yes, I did hear about that. So Perplexity in the business to potentially buy Apple in the business to buy Perplexity. I don't know, dude. I don't think it's actually going to happen, but nonetheless, that was the headline on Friday. I don't think they're going to do it because at the end of the day, they kind of know that like they want to be vertically integrated. I also don't think Arvind would want to sell to Apple, but I mean, who knows? It could happen. Let's get a little bit of coverage on this, but I ultimately think this is not going to play out. It does go to show you how desperate Apple's becoming. They need to potentially buy Perplexity. Another rumor as well was Meta is thinking of buying Perplexity. So, I mean, you got a lot of people in the market to say, hey, maybe Perplexity is the buy here.
AI startup and darling Perplexity ahead of his Scale AI deal. Bloomberg first reported the discussions. One source tells me that it was Perplexity that walked away from the deal. Another, though, tells me that it was mutual. Either way, Perplexity adds to this growing list of Zuckerberg's big swings in AI, where he's not just chasing talent, but he's making a play for every layer of the stack. And when he can't buy a company like Ilya Sutskever's SSI, he'll settle for poaching its CEO, as Kate Rooney reported yesterday. Now, this all underscores a narrative, Scott, that I hear repeatedly from sources here, that Meta's campaign is about momentum, not coherent strategy. Perplexity, it's a consumer search AI app. Scale is AI infrastructure. SSI is a mission-driven research lab. They are very, very different companies. And taken together, this push looks less like a roadmap and more like strategic FOMO. In Zuckerberg's case, it could come off as just another rebrand without earning the trust or credibility that comes with it, which is why, Scott, he's had some swings and also some misses.
Maybe maybe Zuckerberg is trying to get that asset, even though it was rebuffed, obviously, according to your reporting, before somebody else does. Maybe that's part of the whole thing. When we were sitting out at WWDC outside of Apple Park, in Apple Park outside HQ, Alex Kantrowitz was like, Apple should buy Perplexity. To him, that was a no-brainer. Yep. So I can't help but think that this is an attempt to get something before somebody else.
And I think it's pretty obvious Meta right here is also on a spending spree. I mean, Meta is behind on AI when it comes to Llama because that just has not taken off as like the go-to model. But Meta's advertising business, which is the majority of the revenue, has been accelerated deeply because of AI. But I think Zucks knows, and again, we talked about this on Friday, Sam Altman made a hell of a point. He was like, what if Meta is offering all this money to their engineers, $100 million signing bonuses, because they're afraid that ChatGPT is going to take away time from Facebook and Instagram, which is then very scary as a Meta investor because 99% of Meta's revenues come from people staring at ads on Facebook and Instagram. And if you have a new AI either feed or AI product that's just more interesting to people, that makes them feel better about themselves than staring at social media products, that's not good for Meta. And they really have not diversified outside of that. I know they're doing the glasses stuff, but that's a nothing burger right now. Reality Labs is a nothing burger. Llama's a nothing burger. Like in terms of the bottom line for the business, it's advertising. And as bullish as I am on Meta, and I don't think that's going away anywhere, that is something that Zucks could be looking at 10 years into the future. Like, are people really going to be staring at Facebook ads in the future, a decade from now? And I think they will, but it might not be growing at the levels that it's growing right now, because right now it's still compounding at like 15, 20%. And that's where Zucks might be getting desperate to build out AI ecosystems that can be relevant in the next 10 to 20 years. Bitcoin right here, 101.3. Back to where I bought it at last night. Meta is doing more to AI open source community than everyone else combined. I agree. It's just at the end of the day, Llama still isn't the go-to model that people are going to when it comes to actually getting useful results from their APIs. Now, granted, I think Llama is going to get better and better and better, and as an open source version of it, or as one of the only models that's meaningfully open sourced, that is going to be a tailwind for them. But that's also not something that's going to drive net income growth anytime soon. Now, WhatsApp is the undervalued opportunity right here. JP Morgan said WhatsApp could be a $5 billion year opportunity in terms of additional revenue. So that's something to be super bullish on. But again, long term, if AI does take away time from Facebook and Instagram, that is something that Meta has to think very seriously about, because that is the lifeline of their revenues right now. Tesla right here at 322, flat after hours, did dip to 315, right back right now to 322. That's what we got, folks. That's what we got. I don't think Steve is joining today. Seems like he's a bit more busy, but he'll be on later. Yeah, he's not home right now. Yeah, he's not home. All right, so we'll have him on during the week. And we'll see some of his thoughts on this market. Okay, let me link this right here. So the Miami meetup, I did finish the form. I'm going to put this right now in the chat. I don't have the details on the meetup itself yet. We're still working that out, but this is the Google form. So you can keep this and save this with you. It's a quick sign up, your name, email, and 2 other questions. And yeah, we're doing Miami. We are doing Miami in August, most likely August 23rd. That's the tentative date. I will confirm it probably by the end of this week, but tentative date, August 23rd. And yeah, if anyone's, wants to come out and take a vacation in Miami, this could be part of your vacation. And if you're local, then we'll be able to meet, and it should be fun. It is not for sure the weekend of the 23rd. That's why I'm saying it's tentative. I will give you guys the exact details probably by next week. But tentatively, I'm thinking that should be the day. Chris is also probably going to come through. I talked to Chris over the weekend. He'll probably come through. I think Tanner said he might come through. Matt might come through. So you guys might get to meet all of us in person. I did not show Steve FSD in New York. Next time I go to New York, I'm going to take my car. Next time, I Ubered to New York on Friday. So, yeah, I will show Steve FSD eventually. He has to experience it, bro. He has to experience it because it's so freaking cool. It's the future, bro. It just feels. I showed my grandpa the other day. He drove with me, And he couldn't believe it. But it's just, you know, he's 85 years old and it was just driving itself. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. A week ago, Amit said I will not be traveling at least for 3 months, goes traveling in 2 months. Okay, but to be fair, I got back in June from AIPCon, and theoretically, I'll be going to August at the end of August. So it's basically 2.75 months of not traveling. But I'll be home for the next, 2 months, no matter what. So, and then August, we're moving out, dude. We're moving out in August. I have to think a lot about how we plan the move out, the furniture, all that stuff. Dude, I'm still thinking of what the setup could look like, because can I install the bricks again like I installed in the past? Of course, right? Like I have the strength to do that, obviously. But there's a part of the apartment that looks really good as a background without the bricks. And I kind of want that to be the background to these streams, but I don't know how it's going to look. So I got to go there in the next couple of weeks and really see what it looks like, because I'd be willing to give up the bricks if that background looks better. But it's also the bricks. Like the bricks are nostalgia. Like we can't give up the bricks. But if I do install the bricks, it's like, it's not going to look that different. Like it's going to look like this. There'll be some differences, but this will be the set of the new studio, So I kind of want something different too. And so I don't know. We got to see. The apartment is changing him. Goodness gracious, bro. I think I just want something to spice up the streams in terms of like the look of it, because we've had this for like 2 years, so I kind of do think something fresh would be nice. But we're gonna see what we end up doing. I did do this. So I put my picture of the apartment into ChatGPT, and I asked it like, "Hey, put a random couch in the middle of this and see, like, in the living room, and see what it looks like." And it showed me some pretty cool shit. I was impressed. I was very impressed. So yeah, I think ChatGPT has like a. There were whole startups built on this idea 2 years ago, where you could like take a picture of something and it would manually like install another picture so you could like see what it looks like. And now AI is just doing it. It's pretty freaking incredible. It's pretty incredible. So that's been helping me. It's been helping me out as well. How about just one wall with bricks? Yeah, we might have to do that. We have to see, dude. I want to like, there's a specific vibe I'm going for in this place. And like, it's going to take some time to figure out what it looks like, but I got to figure out soon, because it's only a month away at this point. Now it's like the reality of this shit is like actually catching up to me now. I'm like, oh, like I'm actually moving out. Like it's actually happening, because I've had, 6 months, 7 months to think about it. And now it's becoming real. Casting out. Oh my gosh, bro. You guys are crazy. Who is we when you say we're moving out? We is all of us, bro. All of us are moving out. What do you mean, who is we? It is literally all of us. This whole channel is moving out together at this point. We've got the Kai Cenat of financial news. Dude, Kai Cenat met LeBron. For those that don't know, he's like the biggest Twitch streamer in the world. He met LeBron and he live streamed him meeting LeBron. And it was crazy, bro. His story is he's a kid from the Bronx, inner cities, New York City, and came from poverty. And now he is the biggest global sensation when it comes to internet media personalities. And every like major celebrity wants to stream with him. It's quite incredible, his story. And he did it just by being consistent and streaming and, innovating in terms of content. And it's been pretty incredible to see his rise as well. Yeah, AK Media is we. Exactly. I am absolutely, dude. Why do you guys not like the chair? This is like the chair. What's wrong with it? Just because it's a little peeling in the back does not mean it's a bad chair. Of course we're bringing the chair, dude. We gotta freaking bring the chair no matter what. Your folks will have a lot more room since we're all moving out. My mom doesn't want to do anything with this room. My mom wants to just keep the room the way it is, because if I come back, then she wants me to be able to just like have a spot. So I don't know if my mom's going to do anything with this room, but yeah, technically, they will have more space. Dude, I'm getting really annoyed with this camera. The one thing we're definitely doing in this new studio is I am upgrading the camera. I don't care if it's like $3,000 or $4,000. We are buying a camera that doesn't die in terms of its battery. because I don't know why this one started being stupid. It used to go live for like 7 hours. It wouldn't die. Now it's dying. And it's a new one too. I bought this in February. So I don't know why this is happening every time. But I want a camera that like is stable throughout the whole day. It doesn't have to be plugged in. It is plugged in. No, the camera's plugged in. Like, that's why I'm confused, bro. The camera's plugged in right now. Why is battery exhausted? Why is that happening? I don't get it. It's like it's a $1,200 camera. Maybe I need to get a more expensive camera that like is studio. Like when I do podcasts, right? Because part of the whole reason for moving out as well is to really build a meaningful podcast studio and get a lot of guests to come in. If we have podcasts for 2-3 hours, we can't have the camera dying in 40 minutes. Like, this is ridiculous. So we need to like really, and a lot of professional podcasts, like they don't switch the camera in the middle of the studio in the podcast, right? So I need to figure out like what podcast is Joe Rogan using that allows him to talk for 4 hours and the cameras don't die. Are they $10,000 cameras or whatever? Because I am so annoyed at this freaking camera constantly dying in the middle. So we're gonna have to figure that out as well. How old are you? I'm 27. I'll be 28 in October. 28 in October. 20. Oh, when did everyone? But yo, put in the chat. When did you guys move out? When did you guys? I know I'm obviously late at 28 years old. I get it. Like, I understand. Most people move out earlier than that. I did live in college by myself for 4 years, though. So I guess technically I moved out at 18 for 4 years. But what age did you guys move out? Like, straight up on your own, doing your own thing? Wow, dude. No, you guys are like, but not just moved out for college and then you came back home. Like, moved out. Like, moved out and like you're like legit on your own. Because I did that thing for college, but yeah, see, Jose has the same story as me. 22 and then 27 again, right? A lot of you guys are below 20, though. You moved out. Damn. 18, 19, 17, a lot of 21s, 25, 17, a lot of 17s right here. 23. Pretty much everyone's below 25. I mean, there's obviously some outliers here, but the majority of you guys below 25 here. Kicked out at 55 by my wife. Is that true? Is that an actual story? Or are you joking? I was talking to a friend over the weekend who was getting married in August, and I was asking him, like, hey, did you get a prenup? And he's like, yeah, we got a prenup. He was like, yeah, bro, I don't, like, if it doesn't work out, I don't want her to have half of my shit. I'm like, I get it. So it is what it is. It's not the worst idea in the world. 18 and join the military. That's fair. If you join the military, then you probably moved out at a young age as well. I'm not in New York. I'm still in Jersey. If I move to New York, bro, like, dude, I have done my budgeting like multiple times. I've worked with ChatGPT to try to figure out every little nuance of like making sure that this goes well. If I had to go to New York, like, everything would change because the taxes are different. The rent obviously would be more expensive. So I'm still in Jersey. Cost of moving out is still high, but it's not as bad as New York. Yeah, a lot of you guys below 20 years old, 19, 18, 17, pretty much everyone. Tesla right here. Are we recovering? Tessie 323. Pounter also getting a little bit. Look at that. Pounter about to go green. 10 cents away from going green. 137, 135 to 137. Even Robinhood 76 to 77. Nvidia still flat on the day or down. Tessie is indeed green. I will get a 30% raise if I move to Texas or Las Vegas or even Florida. I get it. I just love the East Coast, bro. I love the East Coast. And I want to be near New York because New York is finance media central. And all the people that I would easily need to get access to are in the city. Very close, like 20 minutes from the city. And quite frankly, I want to, I've always had a dream of living in the city. Obviously, I can't afford it yet. Maybe in the future. Actually, my boy's penthouse that I was at on Friday on the market close. I mean, his apartment was just incredible inside of the city. And like one day I would love to do that. But the fact that I'm so close to the city, I like that because I've always had an affinity for New York. So also, dude, I don't want to be that far away from family, bro. I don't want to go to freaking Texas and have to take a flight just to come home and see my parents. Like, that's just too aggressive right now. I feel like there's not enough in Texas. The taxes are not enough to do that. That's just the burden in life that I wouldn't want to deal with just because of taxes. But nonetheless, again, I've calculated how much taxes I have to pay next year. I've projected everything that I think will happen this year, obviously preliminary. And I asked ChatGPT, so what am I gonna have to pay? And the number I saw last night, and I was like, are you sure? I was like, are you sure about that? Are you sure you got this? She was like, you're gonna have to pay this money. I'm like, all right. It would be nice to have no state income tax, but nonetheless, it is what it is. Yeah, and Patsy's moving closer to New York for Patsy's as well. Got to do that. Florida is East Coast, but it's the South. I mean, the Northeast. Dude, I'm never moving to California. I'm never doing that, dude. Forget that, dude. The taxes in California are stupid, bro. I'm just not. I love California. I've been there countless times, but I'm never doing California. I mean, Indians are just smart with money and more family oriented. Nothing wrong with not moving out like the rest as long as you're making a living too. Yeah, I mean, like, again, I've said this over and over again, but Indians have a really different relationship with kids moving out. It's not encouraged by their parents to move out young. Like, it's really just not. Like, I know in America, it's kind of like when you're 18, you kind of move out and move on. India is just different, bro. I think with like, and maybe it's not just Indians, but immigrants in general. Like, at least what I've seen, Indian parents don't want you to move out early. There's something just cultural about that. And for the past 5 years, it's been a good financial situation to stay at home and kind of save up and all that stuff. But eventually moving out is important. Like, I think moving out from a social perspective and from a development perspective is super important. So you can't stay at home forever. But it's definitely not something that's encouraged once you turn 18 years old. And so from that perspective, it's like when people, when I'm like 25, 26, people are like, you still live at home? I'm like, yeah, I don't see that as weird. Because I guess it never felt weird. But to some people, it feels very weird. And I get that. It's a cultural difference. But now I'm at the point where I want to move out. And I can afford to move out. So I'm also excited to move out as well. I do have an LLC. Yeah, no, but like, dude, I put in all my expenses into ChatGPT as well. And even after all the expenses, she was like, hey, you're going to have to pay this much money. So trust me, I've looked at all the expenses. I've looked at all the numbers, and it's a decent chunk that it's multiples above what I paid this year in taxes. It is what it is. It's a good problem to have to an extent, but it's also something you got to factor in as you get older. Hims right here, still down 1%. Palantir goes green. 138.15. Look at Palantir, up about 1%, up about 0.5%. And then Tessie, 325. 325 on Tesla. Really original. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Just have to make AK Media public so we can invest. I don't think AK Media will ever go public. That would be kind of crazy one day if you could trade AK Media. But yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Again, dude, there is no AK Media. Like even what someone I was talking over the weekend, there was like, so what's AK Media? I'm like, AK Media is nothing, bro. Bloomberg just needed something to say I was the CEO of. Like, they just needed like a label, and now we've turned it into this meme. But yeah, I don't think we're ever going public for AK Media. Also, it's not a great business to invest in, dude. Like media companies suck to invest in. You don't get a multiple on media companies because media companies don't have infinite scale and operating leverage the way tech companies do. Now, media companies can do very well, and media companies like a MrBeast can turn into a consumer packaged good company where he sells chocolate, or an AI company like he's building this new AI thumbnail provider that he can sell to millions of people that watch his videos. So like media can turn into tech, but investing in media directly is not a good value proposition. This is what I got wrong on Netflix. I thought Netflix was a media company, which is why I never liked it. I thought Spotify was a media company. I never liked it. I didn't realize they were actually tech companies that just had really crappy media company margins, but they were developing operating leverage. And once they did, it was game over. Spotify 10x, Netflix 20x, or at least from the lows, Netflix 5x. So tech companies are way better investments than media companies. Yeah, there will never be a Bitcoin. We're not doing that. But you wouldn't want to invest in a media company anyway. Yeah, you can indirectly invest in AK Media by buying Google's. Dude, what is going on with the Googs? What is happening with Google? Like, this is just unbelievable that it's getting disrespected to this extent. I don't even know why. It was like some European fine that they got on Friday or something, down another 4%. Like, I cannot believe the street hates this name this much. but it's happening. And I'm kind of, dude, I don't know if Google pumps or dumps going into Q2. Like last time it was at 155 and I bought those 100 shares going into Q1 because I was pretty confident at 155 we would get some love, and we did. We're basically right back there at 165. I mean, like it got to 149 3 weeks ago. So I don't know what they have to say. And remember, last time on Q1, they reported that 40% EPS growth because of SpaceX. They're not going to do that this time. So it's not like they're going to have some massive top line beat that's going to get everyone excited. They're going to have declining search revenue year over year, and Sundar is going to have to convince everyone that it's okay. And I just don't know if he's going to be able to do that. Tesla 327. There she goes. Tesla going green after hours. So Tesla getting some momentum. Where's SoFi? SoFi still down? SoFi still down 3%. I don't know why SoFi's down. That's confusing to me. NVIDIA 141. And then Tessie 326. Because the narrative isn't there. I mean, yeah, that's for sure. I have Tesla calls that are not Tesla calls, Google calls that are down like 40%. If Q2 sucks, I'm just selling them after Q2, dude. Because Google needs to be $210 for me to even break even on these calls. So if Q2 sucks, then I think I'm out. I'm not going to sell before Q2 because maybe Q2 is okay, but Q2 sucks. I'll take the L. I'll tax loss harvest it, and I'll move on. Because at that point, it'll be end of July. Like, am I really going to have 5 months for Google to pump to $200, especially if it goes to like 140 or something? No, at that point, I'm done. Those calls are cooked. But so is Pelosi. So I don't know. I'm hoping Q2 is the start of a narrative shift in whatever way that it can. I don't think the rumors of Apple acquiring Perplexity is what took Google down. I mean, maybe it did. I think there was more of a European regulatory fee they had to pay, but maybe this headline or Meta acquiring Perplexity hurt Google as well. But like that should be an easy buy. If it fell down 4% because Apple might buy Perplexity, I feel like that's not something Google shareholders should be that concerned about. But maybe that could be the reason. Coinbase was down, I think, last time we checked. Coinbase, by the way, NBA score, Coinbase down about 2%, still at 300. Wow, Pacers in the lead, 43-42. Pacers still in the lead right here in Game 7. Yes, I followed Pelosi into Google. I should have followed her into freaking Tempest. I thought Google, though, over some random healthcare AI company was going to do better than freaking Tempest. But Tempest is up like 3x since she bought it. She bought it at 25. It's at 70, 67. It's up about 2.2x, but yeah, Goog did not work out. I agree with the stay-at-home mentality of immigrants, especially Persians. Yeah, Persians as well. They have, a lot of people from the immigrant background tend to have that stay-at-home mentality. So I'm excited though, dude. It's time to move out. It is absolutely time. I got a lot of projects I'm working on behind the scenes that I haven't told you guys about. And every time I say I'm in a meeting, a lot of the meetings are dealing with those projects and trying to see if we can make progress on those. And I think moving out is going to be an important phase in just evolving as an independent human being. And I've got a lot of things I'm working on that I think can accelerate as I get closer to the city. And, it's time. It is officially time. I live in a suburb in Jersey, so it's like it would be just fun to live like in an area where there's like bars and clubs and restaurants and all this stuff, like, what a typical single guy would want to be involved in. Like I was walking just now before I did the live and I'm seeing freaking rabbits running around. I'm like, dude, like I should be here when I'm like 50, not like 27, dude. I'm seeing rabbits run around the suburb. I'm like, all right, this is very peaceful. It's nice. It's beautiful. But I don't care about these rabbits. I want to see, I want to see like a bustling nightlife. Like that's what I care more about than rabbits. It would be more fun. I'm not working on an app. Look, when I say I'm working on a project, I'm not working on anything that's going to cost money or that's going to be a subscription or some stupid, no. Anything I am going to put out in the future, if I'm working on something, is going to be completely 100% free. I don't believe in charging consumers money to access anything, because I think, quite frankly, if you build something big enough, you will get bought out, or you will have money come to you in a lot of other ways. You don't have to charge this stupid thing in finance where these companies are like, pay $10 a month to access this proprietary data. It's like, that's not proprietary. It's just like stock market data that you got from APIs that you put a fancy UI on and you think it's worth $20 a month. Like, all these screeners and shit are the dumbest business models. Like, I've never seen their moat. I don't understand how they're raising tens of millions of dollars in VC. I'm like, what VC is funding this subscription model stock screener? How is that like a billion-dollar business? The VCs are supposed to be funding billion-dollar businesses. And you got these companies raising tens of millions of dollars. I'm like, what is the moat here? Why? Like, so I will never charge for anything. Because it's just not a good business model to charge. I think like Robinhood proved this to you. If you can make commission-free trading, you can get massive scale, and then there's eventually a business model that's attached to that. But you got to go and make things free, and then if people actually like using it, you're going to have a lot of people using it, and then eventually there's a shot that it could take off. But I don't think charging people or something makes sense. So, also, I don't even know if I'm launching. There's a lot of things I'm working on the side, and I'm trying to see like if there's any potential in a bunch of different ideas. I'm actually, I told you guys this already. I'm working on building something on Palantir. So I've been working very closely with another engineer building something on Foundry, and I'm quite excited for it. I think it has some potential, but I got to see. There's a lot of different ideas and things I'm working on. It just won't cost any money. That I can guarantee and promise. Amade, I love your philosophy on making money. It's the Palantir philosophy, bro. It's very simple. It's go for scale, and there will be a business model in the future. People don't understand. You can make money. Money finds attention. Attention requires critical scale. Critical scale is where the opportunity is. Money is not important in today's society. What's important, I'm not selling branded cowbells. I'm never doing merch, by the way. I know Farzad wants me to do merch. I hate the concept of merch, dude. I just don't like selling these physical goods. It's like, I just never liked it. So I am never going to put out merch, even though I know a lot of you guys have been asking for it. Hopefully one day I can actually get branded cowbells and just like do giveaways and stuff, and we can give them out. But yeah, I don't like the merch business or anything. But the money is not important in today's society. What's important is attention. That's all that matters. Attention. Attention, attention, attention. You need attention to get things done. The more attention you have, the more chances you have of really building something meaningful. Like Robinhood Gold, they could be charging you $10-15 a month, but that would ruin the whole point of it. The $5 is a measly $5. I mean, we're people in finance. Like, people in finance can afford $5 a month, but the level of value you're getting off that $5 is where Robinhood gains trust, loyalty, and eventually, if they raise it a couple bucks, you're never going to cancel it, right? It's the same way Costco makes money, right? Same way Netflix makes money. It's like you give so much value, even if you charge a small fee, and eventually that fee gives you leverage. But you got to get people's attention first. That is the most important thing. If I make an Amit sweatshirt, will you sue me? No, I will not. You can go ahead and make a sweatshirt. I agree, selling material stuff is boring. Dude, the Discords, the private courses, the merch, all these business models are boring. They've been played out. They were relevant like for creators, I think 10 years ago when the creator economy was just forming. Now, I think what Mr. Beast is doing makes a lot of sense. Is like get all this attention and then create technology products or create like real products that people would want to consume, like chocolate, right? Like that's like a massive market, like not just merch, not just a t-shirt with Mr. Beast's logo, but like chocolate, like go up against Hershey's. Hershey's is what's the market cap of Hershey's? It's like what, 80 billion or something, 100 billion? No, it's like 50 billion, right? What is it? 30. Okay, it's 34 billion. Like if Mr. Beast gets anywhere near Hershey's market cap, or even like a tenth of it, $3-4 billion, that's a way better market opportunity than selling merch. Palantir, by the way, trying to go for 139, and then Tessie, 325 per year. I think attention is the most important thing. It's the most important thing. All these YouTubers that sell stuff to viewers makes me question their market knowledge that you have to squeeze your viewers that are already making you money. I agree. I think if you gotta sell people something in the finance niche, you're probably not making that much money inside of the markets, which means, are you that good at talking about finance? I think that's look, I'm not the biggest expert on investing. I will never be the best investor. I will go through many, many losses in my life. I will be humbled many times. I will lose a lot of things. I will try to grow as an investor. But the one thing I can always say is that no one's freaking paying me for advice. Because as soon as you start accepting money from people, now you're expected to like get every stock right and get every macro take you have right. And like, you're not. It's just, most of the time you're not going to get it right. And for the times you get it wrong, if people lose a lot of money and they expect, you to be accurate because they're paying you $10 a month, as somehow the $10 a month creates this transactional relationship that requires you to be right, which is how people think of it. If they're paying for your YouTube subscription or whatever, then it's a lot of pressure. And I don't think that pressure is worth it. I don't think that pressure makes sense. So I just think those business models are old. They're not that exciting anymore. As soon as the YouTuber sells a course, it should be your instant red flag. Yeah, and look, I'm not totally against people selling courses. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I just think in today's day and age, the content is so free that you repackaging a 7-hour course to sell for $500, which is a great business model because you talk for 7 hours and then boom, you can sell it infinite amount of times. Like, that's a great business model. It's just a little shady because it's like, where's the value there? Where's the value? Sell refrigerator magnets with Steve. That would actually sell out. That would sell out. Refrigerator magnets with Steve's face on it. Yeah, I would love to do that. But bro, that's the funniest comment. Bro wrote 19 pages to reconvince himself. No, honestly, that's what I did over the weekend, bro. That's what I freaking did. This freaking grab thesis. I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of it's a nice read, dude. Look at the introduction. If you guys read the introduction, it's like, all right, it's been about 6 months since I first initiated my grab thesis. Like, it was like 12 a.m. on Friday night. And I was like, you know what? I'm writing up my thoughts. And then I just go through it. Look at it. Dude, I have not wrote this much text in I don't know how long. I don't write, I yap. And I could have easily made this a video, but for some reason I was like, I need to write all this out. And I use no AI, bro. Zero AI. But I needed to just like get my thoughts out there. So yeah, it wasn't even to reconvince myself. It was more so just like, hey, like, I have a thesis. I need to put it all together so I can look at it physically and make sure that the capital I've allocated makes sense. And I've reaffirmed that, yeah, it's going to be a long journey, but I think it plays out. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But if it does, we're going to see. Rock Lab doesn't trade overnight, but I think it's at like 29. But it closed at 29 on Friday, I think. Yeah. Friday. Old Head Ted, thank you for becoming a channel member. Appreciate you, Old Head Ted. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Just wanted to let you know I relentlessly defend you in the comments of Strongman's Personal Finance. Dude, Strongman Personal Finance is a hell of a guy. Like, the funny thing about him is he's playing a character. First of all, Strongman, I don't want to get into his personal life and stuff, but he's going through a divorce and all that. He's selling like some tax CPA software services or whatever. So like, he has his own incentive to get clicks and then be able to get the clicks in order to, sell his tax services or whatever. But second of all, I've talked to this guy. I've had a debate with him on his channel. I don't know if people have seen this before. He's not a bad guy. He plays this character because he like wants the attention of like hating Palantir and all this stuff. But like, he's a nice guy. Like, he's not a bad human. Look at this, bro. This was back in 2022. Palantir was, I think $7 or something at the time.
Come on, let's dance, man. Welcome.
This entire video was him just like, me and him just like, when I mean he's a nice guy, he's not like the asshole that people think he is. He portrays that. But at the end of the video, we start talking about his daughter and like what school she goes to and like, like the things his kids are interested in because they're young. And like, he was just a normal guy. He just didn't like the fact that I was making a lot of videos on Palantir at 7 or 8, and he felt like it was like, for some reason, grifting or whatever, where like I wasn't even selling a course or anything. So like he just felt Palantir was such a stupid stock and people were so obsessed with it. And at the time we did that debate, Palantir was $7. obviously we've seen is what happened since then. So I don't think he can say much about the due diligence the company did. I missed the 20x dance. Yeah, exactly. But I went on to like debate. It wasn't even a debate, bro. It's a very I'll link it right here. It's a very respectful discussion. He is not the type of guy that he perceives him to be, that he like puts on in his public persona. He's not a dick, is what I'm trying to say. He acts like one, but he's a regular dude. He's just a nice guy. He just needs the attention, and the way for him to get attention is bashing on other people. Which, look, it is what it is. That's what he does. But I appreciate you defending me in his comments. But like, you don't have to, because the people that I think watch his channel are people that genuinely hate anyone on YouTube that talks about finance, which is fine. And I guess his channel is the way to like hedge against that if you hate finance YouTubers, which there is a reason why people should hate finance YouTubers, because a lot of them have grifted and just been horrible human beings over the past couple of years. So I get it. But nonetheless, his investing philosophy is buy VOO, right? You got to ask yourself, why would someone watch content religiously every day if your philosophy is just DCA into an ETF? It's like all of us are stock pickers. All of us want different ideas and things to think about when we're trying to analyze the equity markets, because we're trying to beat the S&P. He's saying you shouldn't beat the S&P. You should just invest in the S&P. That's fine. That's a great philosophy, but it's not really going to create meaningful content that anyone cares about. And that's why I think he goes the route of like bashing on me or whatever else. But he's not a bad person. Like, he's not actually a horrible human being. Amit looks like he was enriching uranium back then, bro. Oh my gosh. Do I really look like I was enriching uranium here, bro? Holy crap, bro. Not gonna lie, I kind of missed the beard. Look at that beard, bro. Look at that shit, bro. That was a nice beard. You know why that comment doesn't offend me? Number one, it's because I don't get offended by like comments like that. But number two is because I've said this over and over again. I'll say it again. When I had this beard, my mom every day religiously would say, you need to cut this shit off. And I would say no. And she was like, you look like a terrorist. You need to cut this shit off. She was genuinely worried about me looking like a terrorist. I'm like, Mom, that's racist. She was like, I don't care. You look like a terrorist. And I was like, all right. Whatever. And then finally I cut it off. Not because I look like a terrorist, even though I kind of did look, but like it's more so because I just wanted a new switch in my life, so that's why I cut it off. But she's not wrong. Yeah, my own mom, bro, she didn't care. She was like, you look like a freaking terrorist. I was like, all right, it is what it is. Did Carp tell you to shave the beard? Oh my gosh. Carp has never seen me with a beard. I like that type of a beard, I think. The grab link's on my Twitter. Just go to my Twitter. It's there on my Twitter. You can see it. It's like 2 posts down. You can see the link. Mom is a savage. Yeah, she's a savage, bro. I had the beard for a long time. 2023 is when I finally got rid of it. And what triggered you to shave it off? Honestly, bro, I just wanted to change. Like, I just wanted to change. And I want to lose more weight so that like the puffiness of this also kind of comes down. And then I think like it's going to look a little bit more refined when I like actually, if I want to grow a beard out again. But also like, obviously my beard's kind of scruffy right now. And I was going to go get a haircut today, but I just like didn't have time. But probably tomorrow when I get it done. Like I want to lose weight, get like some pounds off my cheeks, and then I think I'm interested in either growing it out again or kind of making it even shorter. I'm curious. I want to see going into the fall some new styles. But I wouldn't be opposed to growing it out again. I feel like it would be cool to like just see how, but it would take me about 5 months to grow it out again. Not 5 months, actually. It would take, all right, at that level, 5 months, but like an actual beard, it would take 2 months, maybe max, maybe 2.5 months, like 3 months max. I would have a legit beard again. And so I feel like if we wanted to, wouldn't be the worst idea. Talk Archer. There's nothing to say about Archer other than the short float or the short report kind of got them hit along with the convertible debt raise they did. Tesla right here, 325. Wow, 980. I didn't see them below 10. Look, my only concern about Archer, dude, is that they don't have a product. It's not out there. It's not real. And so there's a lot of hype behind this name. It's already up 3x from November 2024. So I know a lot of people started buying it at 9, 10, 11, 12. yeah, I mean, that sucks because, the stock's not done that well since then. But a lot of people are buying it at $3. And this is a startup that is public. They SPAC'd. I think their product is legit. I don't have confirmation that it's legit. And quite frankly, I don't know when they're going to get it out into the world. So if you're buying Archer right here, you're buying it on the hype that their product will see the masses. It might not. I think you can trust management. I don't know if you can, bro. I haven't really researched enough into them, but you're buying a pre-revenue, pre-any earnings company. And you just got to hope that it actually plays out. Dave released a full video on Robotaxi. Okay, let's see if we can watch some of that. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Archer. Oh, wow, it's a 40-minute video. Okay, so we're not going to watch the whole thing, but that is crazy, bro. Yeah, dude, Tesla's did a really good job inviting all these people to their
So it
thing.
dropped me off at this
It's just everyone gets to see this happen in real time now, which is super awesome. Look at that, dude. That's so cool. That's so dope. I'm really curious again what the pricing's actually going to look like once they start getting a little bit more scale. And again, it's not going to meaningfully contribute probably for the next year to the bottom line. If that, it might be a year and a half, but still, it's so cool to seeing it happen. My wife didn't appreciate all the strange women running their fingers through my beard. Yeah, dude, like when you have a beard, like you tend to play with it a lot because it's just all this hair on your face. The one thing that I hated about a beard is that food does get stuck in your beard, bro. And it's not like fun to randomly have food in your beard. That was another thing that was a bit annoying to me. Quarantine Quartet said, I lost 50 pounds intermittent fasting, dropping cane sugar and exercising, keeping odd to 3 years now. Anyone can do it. There you go. I think it's not that hard to lose weight, bro. I've gone through a weight loss journey 2 times in my life. This is my 3rd time going through it. It's not hard. It's not like, unless you are like very obese and you've got some like real metabolism issues, losing weight is just keeping a caloric deficit and exercising and eating a bit better. And you can speed up the process with intermittent fasting or OMAD or stuff like losing weight is actually like the formula to lose weight is out there. Our bodies are pretty mechanical. It's not that difficult. It's difficult to be consistent and have the resilience to be traveling and get a salad instead of a burger, which I've failed at for the past couple of years. But losing weight itself is not a hard thing to do. Like, this is why all the Ozempic stuff has been so interesting to me. I'm just like, why has it taken off? And I guess it's because people don't want to have the level of discipline. Now, for some people, they legit need drugs because they've gotten so overweight. But for other people, it's just like, it's a little bit of a cheat code, which is not bad. I'm not judging. Some people that want to go that route, they can go that route. But logically, scientifically, losing weight is not the hardest thing in the world. It's just not. So this is a standing desk. I stand so I sit down when I do the streams, but when I'm working after the market open, I stand. Like, I don't know if you guys will see this. You see this go up? Yeah. You see it going up right now? Yeah. So I stand most of the day, but when I tried standing during a stream, it didn't work out, bro, because it's like 4 hours straight of just standing and moving, and my neck is like, it didn't work. So during the actual stream, sitting down probably, it's just the most convenient. But I'm usually standing throughout the rest of the day. Raise us. Dude, literally, it's a great desk. It was like $100 on Amazon. See this? It's a good one. But I tried doing the standing before, and it just didn't make a lot of sense. I'm not 4'11", bro. 5'7", 5'8" on a good day. 5'8" on a good day. Dude, I am not balding. You guys, like my hair is just crazy. That's why I wear the hat so much. My hair is insane. I got to do something with my hair as well. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. But as you can see, my hair is crazy. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do with my hair. I don't know if I want to get a buzz cut. I don't know if I want to braid it. I don't know. But my hair is it's just, the beautiful thing about my hair is that it's very long and it grows quick. But the bad thing is it doesn't have a defined style, That's why the hat is so easy, because I can just maintain it and control it. But I don't know what style I would do with my hair in the future. but I do want what a Carp wannabe. Dude, I've had crazy hair before Carp had crazy hair, okay? I saw Carp in his younger years. His hair was not that crazy. My hair was always crazy. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with my hair eventually, but I'll figure something out. Oh, wow. Guys, unbelievable. Your boy kept yapping so much about whatever the hell I was yapping about for the past 45 minutes, which if you remember, the comments are already there. I said this guy probably won't be home for 45 minutes, and I didn't know if I would keep the stream going for 45 minutes in time for him to make it. But you know, your boy loves yapping. Now, maybe I was stalling for 45 minutes for Steve. Maybe that's what I was doing. But in reality, it's your questions in the chat kept me talking. And as a result, 45 minutes later, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Steven Fiorillo.
What's going on?
What's going on? How are you?
Good.
Did you get some milk today?
I'm actually drinking whole milk right now.
Dude, you really love milk.
Dude, whole milk is so refreshing. It is so good.
You see the chat's going crazy right here.
I'm
Look at
not
this guy.
looking at the
Look at all the V's. Look at these guys, bro. Look at this. Look at this. Milk emojis. Look at this.
Dude, whole milk is delicious.
I've never liked milk, but you're
Oh,
guys. When we were at freaking Patsy's, we walk out of the store, the restaurant.
you haven't told anybody
I
this
haven't
yet?
told the story. I'm waiting for my Uber. Steve's waiting for me until my Uber comes. This guy taps Steve on the back, and he's like, "Steve, have a good weekend." Steve's like, "Yeah, you too, man. Have a good weekend." And I'm like, "Who is that?" I thought he was going to say a friend, a coworker. I thought he was going to say a waiter at the restaurant because he kind of looked like one of the waiters at the restaurant. He says, "Oh, that's my egg guy." I'm like, "What do you mean that's your egg guy?" He's like, "I have an egg guy." I'm like, "What are you talking about? That's your egg guy." He's like, "That's my egg guy." So apparently he has a milk guy. He has an egg guy. I mean, he's got a lot of guys.
Yeah, he owns the diner I go to.
And he supplies the eggs.
Dude, everybody knows me.
I was like, what do you mean an egg guy? He's like, he gives me the eggs for breakfast. I'm like, goodness gracious, bro. So there you go. He's got multiple different deals.
So it looks like the market futures are down.
Barely.
I'm seeing, I mean, look, I'm not on anything real time, but I'm seeing the Nasdaq's down 133 points.
Bro, the market doesn't give a
The market does not care one bit.
Market doesn't give a shit, bro.
No.
It's hilarious. It's actually Amit has a nail guy. First of all, she's a nail woman. Okay. She's also a toenail woman. She's great. But
whoa, what are you talking about?
Manny Petty.
You're not serious.
What do you mean? I got one 2 days ago. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Come on, bro. You can have an egg guy. I can have a Manny Petty.
No.
Girl, look at these. Look at that.
I'm not looking. I'm looking at the other side of the screen.
Come on, bro. Look at those. Those are hygienic ass nails. What are you talking about, bro? Give you a little massage on your legs too. I mean, dude, men in particular, need to get a pedicure and a manicure. It's not unmanly to do that.
Oh, I'm not saying that it is or it isn't. I'm just saying I've never had one, never going to get one in my life.
But why? Why are you so against it? That's my question.
I have no interest.
You have no interest to clean up your toenails? Like, what are you talking about? That's just.
I take a shower, sometimes 2 showers a day. I'm good.
I get it. I'm just saying, like, there's a different experience when you, like, when someone gets in there and like make sure it looks. Like, I'm just saying,
okay.
It's not the worst thing. Anyway, yeah, markets don't care, bro. Markets. This is incredible that we engaged in a high level military action.
So let's think about this. We have this week, and then the following week is July 4th.
Correct.
And then the following week is earnings season. We're back.
We're back.
And we got the financials kicking us off. You know what we get this week? We get Tesla deliveries this week. And the projections I saw were so strong that if Tesla screws this up, I don't even know what happens. But one of the projections I saw was something like 400. I don't like giving bad numbers. It was something like 460,000 vehicles or something like that.
Wait, do we actually have, guys, do we have Tesla delivery numbers this week?
Yeah.
When? Wednesday?
I think Wednesday or Thursday. I Googled it because it comes before earnings. Tesla earnings are in 3 weeks, I think.
I didn't know we get that this week, but I guess
Unless I was looking at the wrong thing, but I'm pretty sure it's this week.
All right, then. Yeah, I don't think they're going to crack 400,000 cars. People are saying first of the month. Might be in 2 weeks. Then.
So then maybe it's the beginning of the following week, because that would be next Tuesday.
Yeah.
That'd be in a week from now.
Well, hold on. Did you see these Robotaxi videos today?
Yeah, I saw some.
I mean, dude, it freaking looks like the future, bro. Like, look at this. It looks like the future, Steve.
It looks like the future.
And the app is beautiful.
Okay.
It's a sexy experience.
Great.
I would argue that it just from the videos feels better than the Waymo ecosystem.
I've never been in either, so I can't give a opinion.
I don't know if it means the stock is going to run, but it definitely does feel very exciting to see it play out.
Got that.
So, yeah, I mean, look, I think it's a tailwind. I think even if deliveries suck, people are going to be looking at all this content and saying, man.
Yeah, it may not do anything. I'm more worried about oil at the moment. To me, that's the big one. I don't want to see 100 a barrel. I'm very worried about the Strait of Hormuz, as people are saying now. And if oil keeps going up, that's not good for inflation. And that's certainly not good for the Fed.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we should actually look at, I shouldn't say it live, I'll tell you after. If somebody's going to freaking do it and get 1,000 barrels delivered to their home. So
no one's going to do that. No one's dumb enough to do that thing.
You'd be surprised.
No one's doing that.
If I win the lotto, I'm buying something in my accountant's name and not telling him just so 1,000 barrels get dropped off at his house when it expires.
I've never seen this happen, by the way. You've said it's a thing, but I've never seen it.
There is a very specific thing that if you buy and you do nothing, you have to physically take delivery.
Okay, Steve's talking about oil futures. Let's just say it. If you buy an oil future contract and you don't execute it properly, theoretically, you get 1,000.
You have to take possession.
You have to take possession of the barrels. I've never seen it happen, but it's a real thing.
And a contract is 1,000 barrels.
And a contract's 1,000, correct. So I've never traded a futures contract. I don't understand the market that well, but if you trade oil futures, you definitely have to understand that as well.
And there's micro contracts that are 10 barrels, and there's another type of contract that's 100 barrels, but regular contracts 1,000 barrels.
Yeah. Okay, so if the market thinks it's a nothing burger, I guess here's my question. What gets us to buy stocks down 5% again?
To buy stocks down 5% or to get stocks down?
What creates a 5% dip across the market? What gets S&P to 5,700 or something?
If bank earnings aren't great to start the earnings season, I mean, think about it. The Fed news is done, so that's out of the way. There's really no economic data that's going to come out in the next 2 weeks that's going to be impactful. You already have CPI out of the way. So right now, it's just oil. If oil goes to 100, it's going to shock the market. You could see a 10% drop if oil goes to 100.
How likely do you think it is that oil goes to 100?
Oh, it all has to do with if, remember, 20 or I think it's something like 20-25% goes through that little strait right there.
Yeah, but a lot of that goes to China. So if Iran shuts it off, China.
But still, it's still going to create a global shock.
Oh, 100%. But China's not going to let that shit play out for.
I agree. I think that China's going to have to get involved. They're not going to let that happen. But once again, it could be a choppy couple of days until that. Oil's already at, what's that, 74?
Yeah.
75? So remember, oil was trading around 60 a couple of weeks ago. And it dipped below 60. So it's already up.
It's horrible for inflation.
Horrible.
I already see gas prices. I don't go to the gas station more, but I see them. They already ticked up about 30 cents.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is definitely happening as well.
Oil's the only thing right now that is a headwind for me.
Yeah, put in the chat, what do you think is the biggest headwind over the summer? Oil earnings growth being subpar, but what else? What else could really...
Yeah, well, that's the big thing. Oil right now, and then we roll into earnings. And then if earnings growth isn't good, then you could see the markets really respond poorly. But
I don't think the market cares about rate cuts until...
Market, not right now. I mean, look, if you don't get a rate cut in September, there's going to be an issue.
I agree. Exactly. Agree.
But there's no chance now, CME Group is saying 11% chance you get a cut in July, which isn't happening.
No, of course not. It's not happening. No way.
I think that they're going to leave it unchanged for the summer, go to Jackson Hole and be like, all right, we got to finally cut. Which is ridiculous because they should have already started cutting. The housing market is locked. The refinancing market is locked. U.S. debt still has high interest rates on it. It's just the Fed is doing us no favors. They should be looking at the entire economy. I don't know what the hell they're looking at.
I agree. And I don't think, I mean, I don't see any comments in the chat about like some meaningful bear cases besides rate cuts and earnings growth. That's it. And that's already...
I have to sell new SoFi contracts tomorrow.
Yo, you get to save all your shares.
Yeah, I'm still a shareholder.
You get to save all your shares. And I think you are pretty happy that you get to keep your shares, aren't you?
Yeah, at the moment, because that means I get to write a lot of covered calls tomorrow.
No, but I feel like, you know, you didn't want to let her go.
Well, at the moment, I really don't have anything to use the money for.
Oh, yes, you do. Get out of here.
Buy more NVIDIA.
You could buy Oscar. You could actually buy the stocks you write about on Seeking Alpha.
I could buy more NVIDIA is what I could do.
You didn't want her to be 1550 on Friday.
No, I didn't. I will admit I did not. I think it can go a little higher. I'd like to hold it through earnings.
You still have a crush on her.
I wouldn't go that far, but
you're not
at 17, 18, I really wouldn't be mad at all.
Like what, you would sell at 17, 18?
No, at 17, 18, I wouldn't be mad. But at 15.50, I feel like there's still some meat on the bone to... Wait, SoFi's down in futures by 40 cents?
I don't know why it's down 4% right now, but yeah, it is.
I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing it's 15.23.
No, this is Robinhood updates 1480.
Okay.
I mean, look, if SoFi gets...
I'm just going to sell the 16s for this week and generate some cash.
I feel like if SoFi sees 17, 18, it should see 20. But, you know, who knows at this point. Yeah, dude, I don't see the bear case. I don't see the aggressive bear case for the summer. Now, the summer July tends to always be a toppy month, and then August, September, we chill out. So that could happen naturally. Dude, the $16 call for this Friday has 128,000 open interest.
That's a lot.
These are people that probably bought this years ago thinking by June 2025, SoFi should be above, $16.
What is the price on it?
14 cents. It's going to be lower.
Oh, that's a nice little chunk for a week.
Yeah, I mean, if SoFi stays at this range, it's going to open up tomorrow at 4 cents. So, yeah, you're going to have to do a $15 call again, 15.50.
You think 15.50 is for tomorrow?
I think SoFi should easily be able to get above that. So I feel like you're playing with fire there. But if you're just
that's why I want to do 16. So it's
it's just not going to be a lot of premium. That's all.
Which is fine. It's for a week.
Yeah. Oh, we do get second quarter GDP on July 30th as well. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, Q2 is looking like above 3%, or at least 2.9.
Yeah, I'm really not worried about that. The Atlanta Fed screwed that one up in Q1, so I'm really not that worried.
Yeah, agreed. So I guess the play is buy NVIDIA.
I don't see a world where NVIDIA doesn't go up because unless you have geopolitical tensions rise and China takes over Taiwan, everything we're seeing with CapEx spend, everything we're seeing from TSM with the amount of revenue that they're generating, it just looks like sky's the limit with NVIDIA. And think about it. With the massive write-down they took in Q1, all the headwinds are out of the way for NVIDIA at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the headwind. I
don't see it. And I hate saying that. I just don't see a headwind for them at the moment. I think it's a really good buy.
Yeah, I've not been hesitating to buy it. 140, 144-ish, 143, 145. It's all kind of the same thing. The real question here is Googs, what we're doing.
The most undervalued company in the market right now.
But you're not buying it.
Oh, I think there's more upside potential in NVIDIA.
It's a bullshit excuse.
It's not a bullshit
excuse, Steve. You know it is.
It's not.
It is because
think about it like this. Is Alphabet the most undervalued company at 14 times 2027 earnings? Probably, considering they do more than $100 billion in profitability. But the market is so worried about cannibalizing search and what that means that it could trade at a discounted rate for a while. NVIDIA over the next year is likely to outperform Alphabet. So if you got to put your money in one of those two, to me, the higher probability of alpha is with NVIDIA.
I agree. It's just
so then it's not a bullshit answer.
It just feels so disrespected at this point.
Yes, it is ridiculously disrespected, but that doesn't mean that it has the best chance of going up. Like, is it going to go up? Yeah, most likely, but is it going to go up as much on a percentage basis as NVIDIA?
Well,
I don't think so.
Hold on. Okay, so what price do you think Google will be at a year from now?
So where's Alphabet at right now?
165.
So I don't think anybody would think 190 or 200 is out of the question for Alphabet a year from now. But at the same time, I don't think anybody thinks that 200 is out of the question for NVIDIA a year from now. You're going to make more money on NVIDIA if both those cases play. If both companies get to 200 a share, you make more on NVIDIA.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're not wrong.
And both are probable scenarios. The difference is NVIDIA is an extra 20 bucks cheaper a share, so you're going to be able to get more shares of NVIDIA.
Yeah, it's just obviously NVIDIA getting to 200 to be a way bigger market cap than Google.
Yeah, but everybody said, oh my God, when's the first $1 trillion company going to be here? Then when's the first one going to get to 2? And then we got to 3. At some point, you're going to get a $5 trillion company. And my money is on NVIDIA becoming that first company to 5 trillion because it's got the most growth out of Microsoft and Apple. And it's probably on track this year to have the biggest net income out of all the Mag 7.
You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong.
But I love Alphabet's chart from a value play. Like if you're looking for just straight value, no better play than Alphabet right now. Like I don't think you go wrong with either of them.
What do you what's your quick thesis on Hood? Because you wrote an article about it. How are you thinking of this company?
Man, can I just tell you that Hood is looked at as a tech company. They are looked at as an innovator, and they just did everything right. They really did. I think they have an inferior product to products I've seen. I don't use the product. I think it's sloppy. But at the same time, everybody seems to love it. And I got to tell you, that gold membership is a flywheel into everything else. The perks that you get with that gold membership is so strong. And the fact that they tied it to getting a 3% match on your IRA contributions is incredible. So you pay $60 a year in order to get 3% on $7,000 max contribution.
It's actually 50. If you pay it up front, it's $50.
But once again, I'm talking about just the monthly user.
Yeah,
what is the max IRA contribution? 7,000 this year?
Yeah, they give you $210.
That pays for your membership right there. If you max it out, that pays for your membership and then some. Like you're basically paying $60 to get a free 210 on your IRA contribution plus every other benefit you get with it. Like it's crazy not to do that if you are putting into an IRA.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just, it is incredible. And their operating margins. What's Palantir's operating margins?
20, 25?
Yeah.
No, adjusted operating is 45.
Yeah, but now I'm talking about operating.
20, 25.
Yeah. Robinhood is looked at as a different type of company, even though it's in the financial service sector, because their operating margins are freaking huge.
Yeah.
And they talk like a tech company. They roll things out like a tech company. They explain things like a tech company. Even though they're not a tech company, they act like a tech company.
Well, people got mad at me when I was like, oh, Robinhood having events like proves they're more of a tech company than SoFi. And they're like, that's not a thesis for a tech company. And I'm like, no, that is. That is. Like a tech company that has products to show off actually hosts events, Oracle, Amazon, Salesforce, to show off those products.
Yeah.
That is something that every tech company does.
100%. There's a reason that companies do that. To build awareness, marketing. It's just SoFi has
Apple created the playbook, with Steve Jobs.
Yes, they did.
So every tech company followed that.
Yes, they did.
What do you think about UNH? Are you buying it here?
No, but I think it's a good buy here.
Why aren't you pulling the trigger here?
I'm buying other things.
That's what I think UNH
is interesting. Look, you're getting paid 3%. It's a 300. Is anybody going to be shocked if it goes back to 500 a share? No.
Nobody.
And look, their free cash flow right now, they're generating $25 billion annualized in free cash flow. So right now, you're paying, what's the market cap? You're paying 11 times free cash flow for that.
Which is dirt
cheap.
Dirt cheap. And you're getting a 3% dividend.
Dirt cheap. Like this is a great value play here.
This one feels obvious. I just feel like it needs.
Maybe I'll buy some tomorrow. Maybe I'll start a position tomorrow.
I've been thinking of it, but I feel like it needs a string of headlines to.
No, but you want to get but think about it. You want to get before the string of headlines.
Yeah, but my fear is, what if the headlines are negative? What if the DOJ investigation is real? And like what if?
Yeah, but if it was real, would the insiders really be buying?
That's also a good point. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm not buying that the heads of the company are going to be buying with their own capital if there's really fire there.
You see, there's this guy who worked at UNH. He tweeted this. I don't know if he deleted it, but he got a screenshot, and he said basically, it's cheap as shit right now.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. And maybe we just talk me into buying, starting a position tomorrow. Maybe I'll start a small position.
I've been thinking about it for the past week now, and I like that it's not at 330 anymore, so I'm getting a little bit more of a discount. But it just I wouldn't buy leaps on UNH, even though I do think the recovery to 500 is very possible. But in this market, dude, it's just scary buying leaps. Everything's expensive. Even if UNH is cheap, that doesn't mean it mean reverts in the amount of time that's necessary to pump.
I mean, leaps aren't exactly cheap.
Well, they're definitely cheaper than they were when it was $600. Like the premium has fallen down dramatically. But yeah, I do think it's cheap. Oscar, that thing is up again overnight.
I did not think it was going to do this when I wrote that article.
It did it.
Like, that's one of my best timed articles. I did not think that was going to happen.
You wrote it at what, 14, the article?
Something like that, yeah.
Dude, what a freaking move.
I'm getting the spread calculator out for UNH, so hold on.
Steve, you need to buy some MicroStrategy in your real portfolio.
No.
You picked it. You need to keep it.
I'm not, no.
Why, bro?
Because I'm not, no.
Sailor's going to buy more Bitcoin tomorrow.
Good for him. I hope he sails off into oblivion.
How did you pick this stock and you're this mean about it?
I got to tell you, if you buy the 420 call and you sell the 460 call for December 2027, it's going to cost you $637. And if it gets to 462, it's a 528% return on UNH.
In 2 years?
528%.
Wait, I need to make sure your math is right.
You don't have to make sure my math is right. Use the calculator for it.
420 and 460 is the spread?
Yeah.
420.
The price is. I'll just share my screen.
No, I see it. Well, you can share your screen too, but
Yeah. While you're doing that, allow me to share. So I threw it into the calculator, and here's the grid. If it gets there, it's 528%.
what's the price you're assuming of the cost of it?
$637 a contract. You buy the.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, here's all the math right here.
Yeah, no, you're right. Dude, that's December 2020. So that's 2.5 years.
Very interesting, right?
That is very interesting. And how much does it have to move? 460 minus 300 divided by 300. It has to do a 53% move in 2 years.
It's still not even back to where it was. It was trading at 650.
Still wouldn't even be back to where. Yeah, because it was 650 minus 460. That would be still 30% below its all-time highs in 2.5 years.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting spread.
It would be even cheaper if it falls to like 275, but I don't know if it gets that low. Someone says I have the 400. I don't like the 500 strike, bro. I feel like 500 is a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, I'd rather have some cover.
I have a little bit. Also, June, I like December. I know we're paying for the premium, but what's the 400, 500 right now trading for?
So I can't get out to 500 for some reason.
No, because they don't have it for December. If we go to June, buy the 400, sell the 500.
Yes, I can. All right, so
that's 1850 right now.
So you want to buy the 4 and sell the 5?
That's also a 500%. That's 555. That's not that different.
It's much different. It's 425% return, and it costs you a lot fucking more.
That's worse. That's way worse.
Way worse.
Unless you got that at $1,500 a pop.
It costs you a lot more money to get into it, and it's less return.
Dude, you have more time, and you only have to get to 460 in the spread you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Versus this one. And you don't have to worry about.
I mean, we could go.
I kind of like this spread, bro. I think it's making sense.
Yeah, the 420 to. I mean, if you spend a little bit more, you do the 410. Let's see what that gives you.
Okay, so he got it at 1600. So 16 is better. That means you're looking at a 600% return. But
the 410. No, for some reason, going 420 makes the most sense. 420 to 460 is a 528% return.
You get 2.5 years too.
I mean, I wonder if you kick it up to 430, what that does. Oh my God. How is this possible?
Wait, it's what, 650 or something?
659 if you go 430, 460.
That's basically a 7.
It only costs you $395 to get in.
Dude,
hold on. Let's be even more degenerate.
What if we just do 450, 460?
Dude, 440, 460, 751%, 235 a contract. That's some degenerate stuff right there.
That's 450, right?
440, 460.
No, do 450. Because, well, I mean, if we're assuming we might as well do 450.
You want to completely be a degenerate.
It's not degenerate. It's literally
like. No, yes, it is, because it's such a small spread.
But the return.
It's not even, it's not even worth doing. 700%, where if you do 440, you're getting more.
750. Okay, for those that are lost right now, we are talking about an option strategy called a call debit spread. You buy a call, you pay some premium, you sell a call, you get some premium. The difference between the premium you get on the sold side versus the buy side is the amount of debit you have to pay. The width of the spread, in this case, 460 minus 420 is $40. You take that as your max profit and divide it by the premium you're paying, and that's how you get the percentage return. So we're saying, hey, in 2.5 years, by December 2027, if UNH is at 460 and we only needed to get to 420, which is the long end of our call, the short end of our call is covered because we have to cover the call with the long end with that 420 call. That's kind of like the covered call, but it's using a leap instead of 100 shares. And the difference in between is where you make the profit. Now, the only difference between this and leaps is that if you buy leaps, you have an infinite amount of profit you can make, right? Because the stock can keep going up and up and up. With this, your profit is capped, but you're also protected because if the stock falls, that sold call is going to go up in value, even if the long call.
It's not even worth doing the 420 at that point. You can, dude, if you truly think that UNH is getting back to 460, if you truly believe that, you do the 440, 460 on the tight spread, it costs you 235. And if you're right, you make 751%. That's 302% a year.
Wait, but how possible is it to get it at 230? What's the width, the bid and ask on that thing? Let me see.
What do you mean?
You said 440, 460, right?
440, 460, yeah.
Because how are you going to, yeah, dude, there's no way you're going to get 235. You're going to have to pay, the bid is 5 cents. The ask is 465. We got to assume you're going to be paying at least $300.
It's telling me on the calculator that
it's just telling you the midpoint between bid and ask. That's not
the price per option on the 440 is $35.45. So each contract's $3,545. And then on the short call on the 460, it's $33.10.
Yeah, but the point is that doesn't mean you're going to get filled at that.
I get that. I'm just saying that's what it's saying.
But also, all these things are going to be down tomorrow because UNH is down 2%. So there should even be better prices tomorrow, technically, because the premiums will be even lower.
Oh, this is not good for Stevie. This is not good.
This is actually a very interesting spread right here.
This is... And here's the crazy part. Come back to the chart for me real quick. So if it gets it, right? Look at the difference from November to December. You go from making 392% to 751%.
Well, that's always
last
true.
month. It's just so wild.
That's always true about spreads. Like
so wild.
That's the other downside to spreads. The leaps, they appreciate way better.
Way quicker.
Yeah, because the spreads have the short call. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. It's an interesting one.
I'm going to have to text Mr. Patel's information.
Well, we know Patel has his own spreads.
Well, that's why I'm going to have to text him this. Be like, hey, I know you got some conservative spreads. You should take a look at this.
No, his spreads are riskier than the ones you mentioned, I think.
I mean, you can't get riskier than how tight this is.
No, because he is not in December and he has higher strikes. So technically they're riskier.
No.
But I think he's loaded up already, so I don't think he's going to change.
Oh, no, I'm not saying change, but he may want to add a couple of these.
Yeah. Lunar did say the fills are not but we might not get the best fills tomorrow. So it might not be an easy entry into this.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because this is a little bit more illiquid going into December 2027. It needs to be it needs to be 460 by expiry. I think Jason and I will go over call debit spreads more in depth on options 301. But yes, the stock, it doesn't have to be 460 to make money. It needs to be above 440 or 420, whatever the long end.
You need it to be between the range.
Correct.
But you want it above 460 to maximize.
Yeah. If it gets above it, you make the maximum profit.
It'd be interesting.
Okay, so we talked UNH, we talked Goog. Is there any other stock you're thinking of right now? Well, that's it.
No, I mean, look. Did you listen to All In?
I listened to some of it. They were bullish on Google. Yeah.
Let me just say something. Chamath's 100% correct. I've been saying this for a long time. Okay. Why would anybody want to buy the 492 stocks other than the Mag 7 and the freaking S&P? Like, there's no reason to.
I mean, look, he's not like the other companies are just not that exciting as the Max 7.
And I get it. Okay, Palantir's in there. Let's take Palantir out of it. Let's take Salesforce out of it.
Oh, you can keep Salesforce in there. Trust me. No one wants to buy it. So you can keep that one in there.
Let's say instead of using the 492 that he said, how about why would anybody want to buy 450 out of the 500 companies?
Yeah.
Like, really think about it. I mean, Coca-Cola's had its day. Procter & Gamble's had its day. Like, I just don't know why people would be buying those companies right now. Walmart's not interesting. It doesn't make any sense to me.
But having said that, all the Max 7 have not outperformed the CoreWeaves of the world and the Hoodies and the Palantirs. And like, there's been a lot of names that have Rocket Lab have done really well.
No, but they're more solidified and more conservative for upside appreciation.
100%.
CoreWeave could go down 40% from here.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think Alphabet's going down 40% from here.
Yes, that's fair.
So they may not outperform, but I'm just saying when you look at the amount of growth that they're putting up on earnings, it's much harder to get excited about a company like Clorox.
I mean, but see, money is not flowing back into the Max 7. And I think that's what
we don't know what it's going to do.
I think that's what everyone's waiting for. Because if it was, Google would be a lot higher.
Like, okay, Pepsi. I think the only thing exciting about Pepsi right now is you're getting a 4.5% dividend.
Yeah.
Guys, and that money is freaking destroying us right now.
Steve's Twitter, by the way, I'm linking it in the chat. Matt Money is absolutely running away with this freaking.
So I'm just going to say it now. I was thinking about this earlier today. I think I'm going to host next year. You and I are going to have to discuss this, but I think next year I'm going to host an invitational stock draft. We get 8 or 10 people, and I will provide a prize at the end of the year, and we'll turn it into a weekly commentary thing and a weekly roundtable discussion and do a whole series about it.
Yeah, I'm down. That'd be fun.
So, and I'm going to build out a whole thing. It's not going to be, it'll be very similar to the way we did it, but I think we're going to have a salary cap, X amount of money, whether it's $2 or $3 grand that you can spend, like a whole thing. It's going to be very interesting. I think we'll make it an annualized thing, and we'll do the draft the last week in December, and prices start on Jan 1 or Jan 2.
There is a market for people that want to participate in what we did with the stock draft, and I think a lot of people would love to create their own ETF and track it every day. So I think it's a good idea.
And, fantasy football is so big and fantasy baseball is so big. I'm going to create something just like that. I'm going to create an invitational.
Should do it. It'd be really cool. It'd be really cool.
All I know is I did fantasy baseball for 2 years and I can't do it because I lose so much time doing it. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah, because people start getting obsessed with it because it's fun.
Oh my God. Fantasy baseball is not like fantasy football, because there's games every day. It is insane. In
fantasy sports, can I take like someone from the Yankees and someone from the Dodgers and like make my own team? That's
the whole point of it.
And that doesn't stop someone else from taking the same players, right?
No, yes, because there's a draft up front. Once you take a player, the player's off the board.
But that kind of, I don't know, it kind of cheapens.
It's the same thing that we did. If you picked Rocket Lab, nobody else can pick Rocket Lab.
Yeah, but if you were to do this at scale with like hundreds of thousands of people, you wouldn't.
But that's why I would do for an invitational, it would only be like 8 people. But if we did something that was open to the public, you could have crisscrossing.
Yeah. You would have to. Yeah.
Yes. But 8 people take the top 150 or 200. Take the top 100 companies of the S&P, and then the additional companies that are in the NASDAQ 100 that are not in the S&P, and have that be the list.
I've never done fantasy drafts, okay? So yes, I don't know exactly. I've never even logged on to a fantasy platform.
You've at least done an NCAA pool, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen what it looks
Thank
like.
God.
But dude, when I did debate, every debate tournament was basically an NCAA bracket from triple finals to finals.
March Madness is the best thing in sports.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Oh, I got a rant for you. You ready?
Okay.
The WNBA hates money.
Why?
Because why would they beat up Caitlin Clark night in and night out? Let that woman go off for 50 every night. I mean, what they did to her the other night, thank God for Sophia Cunningham. Thank God. It was just wrong what they did. Regardless if the eye poke was an accident or not, you can go either way on that. The 2 body checks directly after was disgusting. It was completely uncalled for. Absolutely disgusting.
I don't understand why there is so much animosity towards her. And I know there's this whole racial component to it. I get it, but like she's
why people are tuning in.
She's why people care about the WNBA.
It is just I can't understand it.
Like,
I cannot understand.
Like, there have been really exciting white basketball men to watch, like Luka Doncic. So, like, why is it a big deal that she's white and she's good at basketball? I don't get it.
I have no idea what the issue is, but she is a phenom, and it's just wrong what's happening.
Also, the NBA was developed on storylines, and David, what's his name? Stern developed the Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson storylines. The WNBA hasn't had a single storyline until like last year with Caitlin Clark. So otherwise, no, like you need to get people interested in the story of the sport.
Look, she is great for the sport. She brings eyeballs to the sport. Do not beat her up.
Dude, I think she's
it's bad for the sport.
She single-handedly brings momentum to people. Yeah. Like I kind of care about it now, even though I don't.
It's what you want. You know what sport I wish was bigger?
Golf.
Lacrosse.
You know, there's a thriving lacrosse community on the internet.
Dude, lacrosse in the East Coast is huge.
It's huge. No, it's huge.
Huge. It's so hard to follow on TV. Like, they need to figure out a way to make it where it can become like a real deal league. Lacrosse is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Do you know Game 7's on tonight?
I'm not paying attention.
86-68 OKC.
Don't care.
You know the Pacers star player got injured?
Oh, can we talk about Fanatics Fest real quick? I don't know if you're allowed to show anything, but did you see Ruben sell a card for $500,000? Did I send you that?
He sold a baseball card for $500,000?
Hold on. Let me send you this.
I saw LeBron was there. Brady was there. I saw that. You know, Fanatics is going to go public one day. They're worth $25 billion. The Fanatics, for those that don't know, they sell merchandise like sports.
I will become an investor in Fanatics day one, even if it's a shitty multiple. I don't care. It'll be on principle. I think the EBITDA is not great for the valuation, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So I just sent you something to your phone on Instagram. I don't know if you're allowed to play this or not, but if you are, send it to your computer and share the screen and play it. Like, this is crazy.
Okay, let's watch this.
And then I want to share one other thing, but it's from YouTube, so I don't know if you can play it or not.
We got it right here. Right here.
It's got the best Panini. Which card is it? Black Prism. What's it worth?
What's it worth, bro?
$2 million.
$2 million.
What's this really worth?
Hey, Paul Skeens is 1.2. What's his best card worth?
That's the debut best.
I saw it on Commanders. What do you want to sell it for?
The other one. What's it really worth, Mike?
Can I say this? Alexis, Serena Williams husband put a public bounty on that card before it got pulled. First one for $250K. First bounty, raw. Before ever. So we outbid him, and now it's a 9-5. And Jaden cooked in the playoffs. We're the biggest Commander fans in the world.
In the world. All right, one time, $500,000. You want it? From Josh Harris with Jaden here right now. And you're going to sign Jaden's jersey back to it. $500,000 one time. You want it? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Oh my God!
Didn't he ask for $1.2 million?
No, he said the Skeens card did 1.2, but that was a debut patch. It was a different card. But basically, this guy's becoming huge with cards. This guy, his tag is Roth Cards, and he outbid Serena Williams' husband for the card. He sent it out to Beckett to get graded. It came back Gem Mint 9.5, and he just sold it to the owners of the Commanders live on the floor of the Javits Center for $500,000.
Dude, are these how the card bettors are living? He's living like a freaking billionaire. Look at this.
Yeah, dude, there's so much money behind these guys. I don't believe for a second. Now, I shouldn't say this because I don't know. I never met him. So I'm going to make a generalized statement. Some of the people in the hobby, I think, are being backed by private equity, or there are private backers to some of this stuff. Because and the reason I say is because one of my buddies,
it's a real world NFT.
Sells. It's not a real world.
That's exactly.
NFT.
Yes, it is. Don't deny it, dude. It's a real world NFT. That's all it is.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
It's been around since the 1800s. It's not. Baseball card collecting and selling has been around for a long time. It's not NFTs.
It's all hype. That's all it is, Steve. You know it's hype. That's okay.
It's not. One of my
You can't tell me a physical card is worth $500,000. You can't tell me that.
Well, how about the Mickey Mantle 52 rookies sold for $30 million?
I believe that, but they bought the Mickey Mantle nostalgia, not the card itself.
No, they bought the card because there's only 2 of them in the world.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway, so my buddy has been selling to somebody who is, I'm not going to mention any names, somebody who is a influencer on YouTube that does a lot of card content. And I'm not going to say numbers, but it's a substantial amount of money that he has sold to this person over the past 6 months. And I know that there is money behind it because this person acquires cards for other people and basically has a list, and they put out the whole thing. There's a lot of money behind these people also. But yeah, like that guy, Roth Cards, he's one of the biggest content creators now on it. The cards he comes to these shows with is insane. And on the video, I don't think you can show because it's a YouTube video. Jeff Wilson, sports card investor, A-Rod went to his booth. So A-Rod was with, you know who A-Rod is, right? Oh, you don't troll me. You know who A-Rod is, correct?
He's an actor, right?
Alex Rodriguez.
I'm kidding. I know Alex Rodriguez. Jennifer Lopez. I know.
Okay, thank you. All right. So he is a part owner of the Timberwolves now. And
really?
He started buying Timberwolves memorabilia. So he stopped with the president of Topps at Jeff Wilson's booth, and they're working out a deal. And Jeff Wilson casually said that he would sell A-Rod 5% of his shop for $5 million.
Look,
so it's very interesting what's going on.
Are these going public, these card creators or whatever?
No, but you know Fanatics owns Topps, correct?
Yeah.
How much did they buy Topps for?
Look, I know this is a big industry, but my point is this industry is rooted in pure nostalgia and momentum. That's it. It's
pure momentum.
So the card is not actually worth something.
Well, think about it. Fanatics acquired Topps for $500 million in 2022.
Dude, cards are basically like Bitcoin. You can't deny that. That's what they are.
Cards are real. Bitcoin's fake.
They have scarcity. They have scarcity, right? And there's a bidder and a buyer, or a buyer and a seller, based on the idea of the card, based on the idea of Bitcoin. That's all.
I sent you a picture of the show I went to. The show's coming back, the East Coast National, in August. We'll be there August 15th. So there's going to be 500 tables. It's wild. I mean, there's going to be at least 6,000 people there.
It's a massive industry for Pokemon too.
Massive industry.
I agree.
Massive industry.
You think Chamath SPACs, one of these private equity guys who's backing the card companies?
I mean, I'd love for Chamath to back a card shop that I run. That would be
the biggest bubble.
That would be so awesome.
If a card show goes public, like, you would get a lot of people to buy. That might end up being a great stock because you got all these card people that.
So I would love to create a card shop and then turn it into a public company. and just do a whole lot of things with it. But
well, Fanatics would be the easiest way to get exposure to it because of Topps, right?
yeah, 100%, because they own Topps. Topps is the biggest. Topps owns a lot of different things. They're getting the licenses for football and basketball back in 26, 27. So Topps is the biggest.
Yeah.
I joke about my buddy all the time that I really want to start a baseball card shop.
GameStop has been trying to do this, but they have not even gotten close to it.
I don't know. What's his name? Ryan Cohen?
Yeah.
He needs to call me. That's what he needs to do. Ryan Cohen does not need to call me because he's way smarter than me, but he should call me because GameStop should buy Collectors immediately. Collectors is the holding company for PSA. They should just buy PSA, turn every GameStop with a lot of foot traffic into an in-person grading facility, and they should become the largest chain of card shops in the country. They should change their business model.
I think it's such a good idea.
Because they already have the reputation, they have the locations, and the problem with card shops, there's only a few of them that are really upscale and nice. Burbank, Cards HQ, this new shop from Santiago out in Jersey, probably by you. There's a few of them that are really nice. I know I'm missing others, but there's a lot. And if you remember anybody who used to collect cards back in the 80s and 90s, there were these little dingy 700-800 square foot places, poorly lit in, just old. And there is money coming into this, and GameStop has great locations, especially in malls, and they're not off the beaten path. They're in strip malls that are anchored by grocery stores. Nobody's feeling out of place going into a GameStop.
Also, video games are all digital at this point, so why would anyone
there's
buy
no
it?
revenue stream for them with video games anymore.
Cards are exciting. They can make so much content. They could really turn around.
Dude,
And they have
I have a
$8
whole
billion in cash.
business plan for them. I have a whole business plan for them.
They have all the cash in the world to do this.
Yeah.
And people are excited. They should call it Card Stop.
I would love for them to change the name. Listen, take $1 billion, buy Bitcoin, throw it on the balance sheet, make everybody happy, and then take another $1.5 billion, and rebrand it and build out a freaking national card brand for stores.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody wants to back me, I would love to start a baseball card shop.
I agree.
There's a lot that can be done with it. I mean, Fanatics Fest was huge. Did you see the Lakers are selling their majority stake for $10 billion?
You think it's cheap or no?
It's the biggest sale to date. I think the person who benefits the most from this is Patrick Bet-David because he became a minority owner in the Yankees 2 years ago. So that just made his ownership of the Yankees go through the roof.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Lakers are worth more, but I mean, 10 billion is a decent chunk of cash for
the Lakers, the Yankees, Cowboys, and maybe the Celtics are probably the biggest known brands. And the Knicks, I mean, I guess you could throw the Knicks.
You have to throw the Knicks. It's New York. You can't.
But they don't have the championships the way everybody else does.
Yeah, but it's dude, Madison Square
Well,
Garden.
I get it, but you know what the Knicks are worth. They're a publicly traded company.
They're not publicly traded. Dude, Madison Square Garden doesn't include the Knicks.
Yes, it does.
It does not. No, it does not. You're out of your mind. No, it does not.
It does.
No, it doesn't, bro.
Yes, it does.
Okay, while Steve's looking that up, for someone asking about Misty, Steve and I are just holding the position. We're not doing anything else.
I'm sucking the liquidity out of it.
Yeah, I have 500 shares. I'm not touching it. I'm collecting the dividends, and I'm probably just going to reinvest it into Misty. So for me, it's a year-long strategy. I want to see how it performs, and that's all I'm doing with it. But I do think if Bitcoin tanks, then they could have some issues with Misty delivering you really good yields from their covered call strategy. Yeah, the MSG market cap does not include the Knicks, in my opinion.
So hold on. Give me a sec.
What is their market cap?
Description of business. Okay. Madison Square Garden Sports Corp.
Steve,
Together with-
no, you don't have to read.
Hold
Madison
on.
Square Garden. Hold on, no.
Hold
There's
on.
nothing you will say that makes sense. Madison Square Garden is worth 4.8 billion. You're telling me the Knicks are worth some portion of 4.8? No, there's no way. There's no way.
Please share my screen, including the New York Knickerbockers of the National
No.
Basketball Association
It includes
and the Rangers.
It includes some of the business operations of the games. It does not include the value of the
No.
equity in the
Owns,
ownership for the
owns and operates a portfolio of assets featuring some of the most recognized teams in all sports, including the Knicks and the Rangers.
That doesn't mean they own the Knicks and the Rangers.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. Wait, hold on. That
Owns
means
and operates.
Hold on.
Owns and operates.
No, that means James Dolan is the owner of MSG.
Yeah, he's the majority shareholder.
No, he's not.
Okay.
I don't think James Dolan is the majority. I mean,
Okay.
hold on. Let's see.
I don't know what to tell you. This is directly from the 10Q. MSG owns the Knicks and the Rangers. It's a publicly traded company. I mean, I'm not that intelligent, but I can read.
Dude, this makes no sense. James Dolan owns 172,000 shares of MSG. That's like $50 million. What are we talking about? That makes no sense. How much are the Knicks worth? The Knicks are worth 7.5 billion, bro.
Just saying.
How is MSG worth 4 It makes no sense, bro. I see your argument. I get how if you read the SEC filing, it makes sense like that, but
they own and operate these teams.
Yeah, I don't know if that means they own the teams themselves.
I mean, what else does it mean?
Dude, if that was the case, so many people from New York would buy MSG stock to get exposure to the Knicks. And
okay, hold on. Share my screen again. Look at the revenue. Look at this. Event-related, media rights, sponsorship, signage, suite licenses, league distributions, and other. You're not getting league distributions unless you own the teams. You're not getting media rights unless you own the teams.
All right, so buy MSG. Buy the Knicks. you don't even like the Knicks. That's the problem. So you're not going to buy
No, I'm not a Knicks fan.
All right, we got to wrap this up. We got to get out of here. Any last thoughts on this market this week, or you kind of think it's just?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a little choppy. Oil's the big headwind at the moment. Let's see what happens with oil.
Yeah, I mean, dude, market's not reacting at all right now. S&P down 0.32 is nothing right now. So very curious to see if this turns into something worse, but futures not really showing any massive pain right here. All right, there we go. That is it for us. We'll be back on the market open tomorrow. The sign-up sheet for Miami. Steve, are you coming to Miami?
No.
Why?
Not allowed there.
I'm not even going to ask. I'm not even going to ask.
Can't do it.
I am not going to ask. Let me put the link again in the chat. It'll be August 23rd. It's looking like. Hopefully Chris makes it.
You can have any special guests?
Chris, Matt, and Tanner might make it. Derek.
Tanner's not going to Miami.
Tanner said he's down to come through.
Okay.
So maybe Tanner comes through. Maybe Derek will be there.
I believe Chris and Matt are going.
Chris definitely will be there. Matt, I don't know.
Yeah, Chris is
nearby too. And he's in Georgia. So
he's not too far.
Yeah. New York meetup. All right, Steve, you definitely have to come to the New York meetup in December.
I'm gonna talk to Patches. I'm gonna see if we can do a NVIDIA watch party there.
No, but we have to do a meetup besides the NVIDIA. Like, we got to do a legit meetup. Like, people would love to meet you in person, bro. Like,
I don't know if that's gonna be such a good thing.
dude, dude, he's gonna be a buff freaking.
I'm not big. I don't understand. Like, I'm not big.
You know, you're not fat. You're not big, but you're jacked.
I'm not jacked.
You're kind of
I'm not
skinny,
jacked.
bro. To be honest, when I saw you today, you're kind of skinny, but you're jacked up front.
Well, I'm not skinny. But
You're not. Yeah, you're not skinny. You're definitely not fat.
like, I
But
do not have a six pack.
You don't have a six pack, but your arms make you look like you're strong.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But
yeah, like I used to be strong.
no, I know, but like you still like look, okay. So maybe you're not ripped like you were in your 20s, but the physique of that is still there, even if you're not ripped.
Yeah, like if you played sports and if you worked out for 2 decades and then you stop working out, you're not going to you're always going to have some resemblance of that. Like I used to lift for a very long time. Don't really lift anymore. So,
Yeah. All right, cool. That's it. We'll be back tomorrow on the market open. Another week. We got a lot to talk about this week. We will get through everything that we have to do. And yeah, we are going to keep going from there. Steve will probably be on later in the week.
at some point this week, I'm bidding on some baseball cards right now, so it's going to be an interesting night.
Okay, there you go. All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And we'll be back tomorrow on the market open. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.
Later.